It's Monster Energy Cup Series racing from New Hampshire Motor Speedway, the Foxwoods Resort Casino 301. You've heard what we are looking for up here in the booth. Let's head down to pit road and Rick Allen.
19 races in the book. 7 different drivers have been to victory lane. There are only 7 races remaining. That means 7 opportunities starting right here at New Hampshire to make it into the playoffs. Parker?
Guys, I just spoke to Adam Stevens, who's the crew chief of the 18-car Kyle Busch. I said, what do you think the grip level's going to be out there? He said, very low. We got to be careful here. Also, it's his 40th birthday today. He wants a trophy, Kelly.
Hey, Parker, don't be fooled by Kevin Harvick's 14th place starting position. Word around the garages, he has got the car to beat. Crew chief Rodney Childers likes his short and long run speed. Kevin Harvick going for his 3rd New Hampshire win, Marty.
You know, Martin Truex Jr. always jokes that he has 4 home racetracks. Well, guess what? He's won at 3 of those 4 tracks. The one he hasn't won here at New Hampshire. The odds are the championship and points on the line, but for Truex today, it's personal. Time to race for a lobster. Let's crank the engines in New Hampshire.
And now, here to give the command to start engines for the Foxwoods Resort Casino 301. Please welcome your Grand Marshal, Treasurer of the Massachusetts Pequot Tribal Nation, Gene Swift.
On behalf of Indian Country, drivers, start your engines!
All right, man. Looks like we're going to have a race today, guys. Excited. Grab the green flag when we come back. That move by Kyle Busch is huge. When everyone pits here under the caution, I give you one guess who the leader's going to be.
Good job there, man. You drove your ass off, got back on the lead lap.
The great comeback story of 2015 continues.
This stretch has been cool. Ain't no give up in this 18. Get some lobster.
Kansas will win again.
Nice job. That is beautiful.
Farther down the road, you get better they feel. Can Denny Hamlin hold him off?
Past that 11 car, bud.
Hamlin wins in 2017.
Well done, Denny. Run her down, bud.
As far as I'm concerned, I think we should race here 10 times a year.
Bowman in row 4. Row 5, Daniel Suarez, Chase Elliott. Row 6, William Byron and Paul Bernard. Pard's on a strong roll here. See if he can keep it up. Let's talk Derek Jones. Eric is Burton, you with us? All right, we'll try this one more time. Hey, Eric, it's Burton. You with us?
I got you.
Man, it's a lot of unknowns today. A lot of rain. Been waiting around. What do you expect's going to happen?
Well, it's not going to be easy to start. You know, I don't think any of us know what the PJ1's going to do here, how it's going to fire off, how much is left after all the rain. So I think there's going to be a lot of kind of taking it easy here to fire off, getting a feel. Stuff's cold. Hard to get heat in it. So just kind of feel it out here for the first half and then go charge hard here for the end.
You've been running really well lately. Tell us what it's going to take to get another win.
It's going to be being smart here at the start, making sure we're staying in it, getting ourselves in a good spot here to really work on our equipment, figure out what the PJ1's going to do as the race goes, get our stuff good out of it if that has to happen. So getting up front, keeping that track position, and giving ourselves a shot there to run at these guys.
Well, Eric, thanks for taking some time. We appreciate you taking that helmet cam with us, too. Going to get some great shots. Have a good day.
Thank you, guys.
Speaking of that helmet cam, we're going to take a look at the in-car cameras. Obviously, you see Eric Jones with the Toyota cam. Go into Kevin Harvick's car with the Hunt Brothers Pizza 360 cam. Great views there.
We got William Byron, one of my favorite cameras, the front bumper cam for Chevrolet. And finally, you got Mark Trex Jr. here with the 5-hour Energy side panner camera.
Well, guys, we talk about it. We've heard from the drivers. It's a little unknown. Well, let's break down how this race goes along. A little over 1 mile, 301 laps, a little over 318-mile long race. It's going to break it up into stages, stage 1 and 2, both 75 laps, while the third and final stage, 151 laps. They can run between 85 and 90 laps on fuel. Guys, this is a sprint. 301 laps here at New Hampshire, one of the shortest races of the entire year. Parker.
Well, guys, one of the toughest things about this racetrack is the way that you set your car up, because you want it to turn to center, but you also want it to be stable on entry. That is what the 11 cars fought all weekend, being able to get it stable on entry, but also turn the center, Rick.
Yeah, and Parker, Kyle Larson, known for dirt track racing. Well, he said coming into this race, it's going to be a lot like a dirt track because he's going to have to search all over the track to find grip. Kelly?
Clint Boyer already has 2 wins this season, but he told me it's only made him greedy for more. They felt like they had a top 10 car yesterday in practice, made some changes overnight, think it'll be a top 5, maybe help him get his 3rd New Hampshire win, Marty.
We've talked about the strength of Team Penske, the worst qualified among them. Joey Logano will start 19th, but he might have the best race car. Going to be fun to watch that 22 come through the field. Time for the green flag, boys.
Actually, Marty, I was excited as you are to see the green flag, but NASCAR's added a lap, going to give the competitors one more look, make sure the track's ready. There's a fire truck here on the front stretch. They'll go around, and we talked about how the stages get broken down. There's first stage, 75 laps. With one more little footnote, guys, a competition yellow because of the rain at lap 35. The teams will not be allowed to add fuel before. So even if a caution comes out, or if they come to pit road, which actually we see a car on pit road now, the 13 of Ty Dillon is coming down pit road, can't add fuel before that competition yellow. Let's take a look, see what
Diving inside, man.
Makes you wonder if he has
in there?
a radio issue or something like that.
That ain't where the radio is.
No, but I don't know if maybe the...
Something's going on in there. They're sorting it out. They feel like they can fix it.
That's full commitment. I mean, my man's all the way in there.
Yeah.
And like I said, those sleepless nights by a crew chief, this is really my worst nightmare, right? Forget about the handling. We got to be mechanically prepared and ready to go. Looks like whatever the issue is, we'll see if they had it resolved.
You're supposed to start 25th.
Be at the back of the field. Well, all right, guys, we heard from all the drivers. They all sounded just a bit nervous to me. A lot of unknowns here as we come to take the green flag.
Well, I'm nervous. If I'm driving these race cars, I have no idea what to expect. Junior, you said it. Look at all of them driving the heat in the tires, swerving back and forth. But turn 1, first restart, cold racetrack. New Hampshire restarts are tough. I am super nervous as a driver.
Rolling up to the Geico restart zone. It's the initial restart coming off the flag. There we go. Kurt taking the outside. That's a little bit of a surprise, I guess. Feels like that's going to be the line that he's going to have the most comfort in. Looks like to me everybody kind of took it easy right there. Didn't see anybody jumping out of line doing anything too crazy, guys. Just trying to see where the grip is in these cars. Truex down low. And Ryan Priest line. We're going to call it the Ryan Priest line all day.
I like that. It's got a label.
Ryan Priest likes that.
Yeah, Ryan Priest, that local star, was in an Xfinity race yesterday, and man, he ran, as you mentioned, right at the bottom of the racetrack, right against that yellow line where no one else could run. So I think that's fair to give him credit for that groove around the racetrack.
I'll see, watch that 12 car Blaney right there turn sharp left-hand turn, middle of the racetrack, ran the bottom on exit. See Suarez on the bottom trying to get some energy going. There's the 12 again, making that turn to get underneath Kyle Busch.
Yeah, that's a good race car that can make that turn underneath a very competitive Kyle Busch. Get underneath him. Just trying to clear him so hard here. He does it. Here comes Eric Jones to the inside of Kyle Busch.
Great shot with a helmet cam. There he is on that bottom. You see he's trying to get all 4 tires in that black groove. That's where the grip is. But right here is where it's hard to get the car to turn and make a grip. That's why you see the 18 drive back away.
It seems like both ends of the racetracks, guys. You see right here, corner entry, there's a couple options, even some options through the middle, but the exit just funnels down to that single line right against the apron. Gotta be a little bit of patience, a little give and take between drivers.
Let's talk about how hard it is to get down into turn 3. Let's take a look at this replay. 19 car, Daniel Suarez, getting down into turn 3. Real quick here. There's Daniel. Harvick's. Look at that. Oh, man. Sliding that tire big time. That's a pretty good slide there. I'd say he has a bad flat spot. That could be an issue for him. He might not blow the tire, but it's definitely going to vibrate. Going to take away a little bit of that front grip. Kelly.
Hey guys, we saw that 13 of Ty Dillon come down pit road. You saw the crew member all the way inside the cockpit. Well, it turns out Ty's water bottle had come loose. It was rolling around in his floorboard by his feet, so they had to go retrieve it. And I can speak from personal experience. That's pretty sketchy, having the bottle roll around by the pedals.
Yeah, I'd say so. Definitely don't want that. I'm glad he's glad that they got that out of his way.
So right there, that's Blaney's strength. See, in the middle of the corner, he's able to turn to get his car to drive underneath other guys. But now as he drives down into turn 3, he's not able to use all the racetrack like he could before to get that turn. So now it's hard to make the car turn this middle and carry speed off, and that's where Denny Hamlin's going to put the fight up. So that's New Hampshire in a nutshell. That's why it's so hard to pass here. They take that line away from you when you get position. You would think the inside would be the fastest place around this size racetrack, but it's just not here.
And New Hampshire in a nutshell is trying to get your car to turn from center exit off. That's what they worked on this 12 car, as he kind of concedes that spot to Denny Hamlin for right now. But Ryan told me, believe it or not, this is the type of racetrack he struggles at the most. He said these flat tracks, I've just never been able to get it, but he's still trying to work that low line, Parker.
And Marty, we saw that replay of Daniel Suarez locking up the brakes into turn 3. Well, Kyle Busch's team came over the radio and told him about that, said a lot of people are struggling. The track is really slimy, in which Kyle replied that he was complaining of the water seeping out from behind the safer barrier, and that it was just making the car a little edgy, as you see there right on the exit.
Well, there's a big hole in the racetrack on the exit of 2, Junior. And you saw the 18, Kyle Busch got up in there. He was tight, fell in that hole. The back end of the car came around, almost got in the wall. Good crossover move. He's not done fighting back underneath Jones.
There's a good look at it.
So right there, he's just not all the way on the bottom. Loses the car, gets up, goes in that hole.
Talking about the water seeping out of the safer barrier. So the safe barrier sits on the racetrack. In most cases, it can trap water behind it, and that will slowly leak out from under that safe barrier as the race goes on. So could be some issues, you know, for some of the drivers. It's never nothing NASCAR will ever have to address, but could be causing a problem or two till that water seeps all the way out.
We're watching a good battle between teammates, the 20 and the 18. Brad Keselowski in there as well. Let's take a listen on the 18.
Water out from underneath the walls on the straightaway, getting into the corners, not very nice. Okay, simple. I'll tell him.
So that's just what you were talking about, Dale. That's that water. And he's mentioning on the straightaways, because that's where they're the closest to the wall. That's where the issue. You don't want to get water on your tire before you get to corner entry. This Ryan Blaney, you talked at the open about those Team Penske Fords with Ryan Blaney. You fist pumping down here? Was that a fist pump because you were right? Or?
I want to raise my hand because I'm going to ask you as a crew chief. This makes me, I mean, I'm glad to see the speed in this car because I do believe that Penske's fast, but I'm a little worried it's so early in the race. There's not a lot of rubber down. This is too good, too early.
Too good to be true. And I think at this point you have to understand the track's going to change. In my mind, history would say the middle just goes away. As the track gets rubber down, it gets tighter and tighter. So Jeremy Bullen's on this 12, needs to be talking to his driver, letting him know we need to make changes. Remember, competition caution coming up in about 25 laps.
Welcome back. Moments ago, we had an accident. Landon Castle gets in the fence again this weekend. This is a backup car. Tough weekend for these guys. Looks like he got loose into turn 3. Spun around, a little contact with the right side.
Heavy damage. He had to take the car right to the garage. I would expect he's going to retire for the day.
It's tough for that team. Doesn't have a lot of funding.
It is. We see pit road was open this time by. Not a lot of takers at the front of the field, but there's a few takers at the back. Kyle Larson, 17 is Stenhouse. You see Jamie McMurray, Darrell Wallace Jr. Handful of cars on pit road here. Remember, they can change tires, but they cannot take fuel because there's a competition yellow coming, so that's why you don't see any gas guys towards the back of the car. It looks like tires on the 42. Rick.
Sure enough, they're going to go Ford Goodyear tires, and obviously, as you mentioned, you can't add Sunoco fuel, so 4 tires, a little adjustment, back out onto the track.
All right, Rick, how'd it feel? You called your first pit stop from pit road.
I really had no idea. I just blacked out for a second and said what I was seeing.
I bet he don't even remember what he said, because that's the way I was when I first started doing this.
Steve, the strategy here is maybe when they come back with the competition caution, maybe they just do fuel, try to pick up some track position.
You really don't even need to do fuel, because you can make it all the way to the end of the stage on the fuel you have. So the strategy would be to just stay out completely in 20 more laps. Or just make your car better. Who knows?
Replay here on the 00. See what happened here. Looks like he already got to the wall.
Yeah.
Before that.
Well, you said, I mean, the big hit for this 00 team is that's the second car, Dale. I think that's the big point is, you know, that is a big hit for a race team trying to bring the best equipment they come to the racetrack.
Yeah, they basically probably budget to finish in one piece, and now they've got 2 cars busted up, so this will be a lost weekend for them. Be sure to catch all the action of NASCAR on NBC with the NBC Sports app. Get closer with alternative camera angles, driver stats, and even track information.
Can I tell you a little secret?
Yeah.
That app also worked great for golf because in the rain delay, I used the app.
Well, you can also watch the race that way. If you
but the race wasn't on.
You're not in front of the TV.
Yeah, that's right. The race wasn't on. It worked good.
Well, I know we're going to watch a restart. And now that they have a little better idea what the racetrack has done, interested to see how aggressive they are. You thought they were all pretty calm on that first restart, and they seem to be calm, but I think that's going to start to change as this ramps up. Here they come to the Geico restart zone. Good start by Kurt. See if Martin Truex can drive to the bottom of the racetrack and make some grip. Rolls the center very well. This is where it's difficult to get that launch. Good launch for Martin.
Man, that bottom really hanging in there on the restarts. I'm real surprised by that. We saw it yesterday, but just only one guy. And looks like those other Cup competitors were paying attention because it's hanging in there.
Well, it didn't work right there for Martin. Now Denny Hamlin's jumped up on the outside of him, so Martin went from battle to the lead. Now just trying to get back into third.
Look at Denny Hamlin, man. He's putting a little pressure on our leader. Oh, we got another car in the wall. Allmendinger backed it in. Clickless Camaro.
And you guys talked about how slick this racetrack was going to be to start.
Running at 20th spot. Let's see what happens. There he is.
Maybe locking up the left rear.
Brakes locked up.
Oh, he's got flat tire.
Oh, yeah.
Flat left rear.
Seen that. That's the second time this weekend we saw a practice accident with a flat left rear. Now an accident for the 47 of A.J. Allmendinger. Every week, guys, NBC Sports on Sirius XM Channel 90 Wednesdays at 9 a.m. The Morning Drive. We join Pete Pistone, Mike Bagley. This week, Dale Jarrett, I've called in. Jeff, you've called in. Great show, so much fun. It's like the weekly show, right? The fans that give us their opinion, we can call in and hang out.
Sounds fun. I haven't got to do it yet. So Rick was talking to us during the break. He's got how many cars down there, Rick?
I have 9.
And how many of Rick?
2 of the 9.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it hasn't gone well. Actually, do you guys remember, the movie Old School where Will Ferrell has to have a debate contest, and right when he's ready to go, he blacks out, says a whole bunch of stuff, and then he comes back to? That's exactly how I felt when I called the first pit stop.
It's
blacked out.
Hey, Rick, that's okay. 'Cause I'm going to tell you a little secret. The first race I crew chiefed was here in New Hampshire, and I blacked out, and next thing I knew, we finished 14th, and the race was over. So that's kind of normal here in New Hampshire. I mean, things happen quickly.
Yeah, tough day for A.J. Allmendinger. They've had a tough year. We talked about it. You see right there, left rear tire, smoke flying off the left rear tire. It's flat. Not sure why it was flat, if maybe they had contact with somebody, but you just don't know. But certainly that was all caused by that left rear tire. Tough break for those guys.
I mean, running 20th.
Yeah.
I mean, they just getting started.
And the pressure just keeps mounting for that team. Like every time they go to Watkins Glen, it's like, okay, you got to win. If you don't win, we can't make the playoffs, and that's a lot of pressure to put on AJ.
See how this restart goes here compared to the last. I mean, Denny Hamlin, his short run speed was impressive. He gained a couple positions there.
2 weeks to Watkins Glen. That definitely means that AJ pretty much has to win the Glen. I mean, that takes him right out of the opportunity to work his way into the playoffs. He wasn't already, but more reason to tune in 2 weeks.
You see right there, Eric Jones jumping in that throttle, trying to spin the rear tires, get some heat in them, trying to get a good launch on this restart.
Nobody does that more than Kurt Busch on restart, spinning them tires, coming up to a green. He's doing that all the time, trying to get heat in the rears for lateral grip. Restart zone. Oh man, he gets a big jump.
Wow, Denny did not get a good start.
Yeah.
Martin Truex making it 3 wide, decided not to. Probably a good choice.
Yeah, it wasn't a great restart for Denny, but he does fall in line in third.
That's so hard, though. You worked so hard to get that spot, and you gave it up by not getting launched well. See the 12 car back there on the bottom. We saw how many spots he picked up early, but the last restart did not work out well for him. Martin Truex Jr. with the left sides below the yellow line.
This race can go that way. It can be a tale of the restarts, right? If you get stuck at the bottom a couple, lose positions versus being in the right lane that moves forward. We see Brad clears the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. and both file into that third lane.
Talk about the Penske cars. Brad's showing the speed that they've seemed to have gained over the last couple weeks. And he's really good at this racetrack. We saw him yesterday in Xfinity race. The best car here. Didn't quite win the race, but still, we know he's really, really good here. And I think he's got a great race car and doesn't have a win this year. So today could be the day, and moves on up into fourth and starts tracking down those Gibbs Toyotas. Parker.
Guys, before this last caution, Jimmy Johnson got from 21st to 18th, but under this last caution, they pitted. They took 4 tires. He was complaining that it was really hard to pass. But the reason I bring this up is I believe the intention here is that they will now not pit when that competition caution eventually comes.
I think you're right, Parker. Definite strategy called by Chad Knaus. Come get tires now. Those are the things between competition yellows and stage finishes. You know when yellows are coming. That's something that we haven't seen in years in racing. The crew chiefs are starting to adapt to that. I like this call by Chad Knaus. Stay out, get some track position, try to work his driver towards the front of the field.
Let's get on the front bumper cam of William Byron here.
Oh, man, that's heavy traffic for the 24 right there. Casey Kane in front of him in that white number 95.
Oh, man, look at him.
Man,
almost run over Casey. I mean, they're all lined up there trying to get down in the corner, and we talked about it in the pre-race how the way to drive this track is really to charge the corners. So everybody's charging into the corners, but you can get a lot of, kind of a chain reaction of running in the back of guys trying to do that.
That's what I was going to say. How far do you look ahead? It's like the interstate. When everyone checks up, can you only really see the car in front of you, or are you looking multiple cars ahead?
You can't see beyond the guy or through the guy's car in front of you, even through his windshield and his back windshield and all that. So you can just tell what he's doing, and you're trusting that he's going to drive in that corner as deep as you are. But if he doesn't, you can send him off on the fence pretty easily.
My experience with driving on interstate, I hope they don't drive like that, because guys out there don't know how to drive. So William Byron, this is a great shot.
He's stuck on the bottom.
He is, and just nowhere to go. And you can see he's trying all he can do, and he's got all his tires in that black, crosses over, trying to find some grip. And Jimmy Johnson knew that. He turned his car down low, also trying to get some grip. This is almost like at Daytona and Talladega, when you've lost a draft, you're just out of the fast line. You're looking for a hole to get in, something to happen. Try to find a way to stop this from going backwards.
Well, Jimmy Johnson is using those 4 tires Parker just reported on. You saw him cross over underneath the 43. Jamie McMurray working here in front of the 24.
And you saw right there William Byron, his eyes were in the mirror. He saw that one car. He knew that's where the hole was. As soon as the one went by him, he jumped to that outside to get in the best lane.
This is it. Look at the battle right here for third. Kyle Busch has it. Keselowski's trying to take it, but also trying to defend Martin Truex Jr. behind them. You see Brad right here in front of the 78 trying to defend. Let's take a listen to Brad Keselowski.
Low the yellow line there, running that apron to make that entry like that. Guys that run the bottom can't get off the corner. They can get in like Jack Sebair, but they can't get off on that bottom lane, even though that's the preferred line getting around the corner.
Well, and I think that's why we're seeing this kind of cross. So we see the 2 of Brad Keselowski. He's going to go down the back straightaway. And Dale Jr., he's going to enter what I consider the third lane, the top, right? But then he's going to try to turn down across to the bottom for exit.
Yeah, it's spotter Joey Meyer trying to give him that information on where guys are running. And we saw Brad yesterday. When he does turn the car in the center of the corner and aim for that bottom groove, he only puts the lefts. in that bottom groove where a lot of guys are putting all 4 tires down there. Brad wants to keep the rights in that middle lane. It doesn't have as much grip, but his car, depending on the balance of whether it being tight or loose, doesn't need all 4 tires in there. So I would say that his car's turning better. Getting down in that, he doesn't need to get down in that bottom groove for all that grip with all 4 tires. Like you see the 78 here, he's doing that. Get a little bit better run off the corner doing that. We saw it yesterday too in the Xfinity race where I thought Brad was getting beat. Was on corner exit by the guys that did put the 4 tires in that PJ1 on the bottom. Parker.
Well, Junior, just to update you on what Brad is fighting inside that car, he said he's struggling with loose off, and so trying to get that power down, which is why you see that 78 Honda's bumper on the exit of the corners.
Yeah, it looks like his car's turning too good, and so, you know, that would be a little bit of a loose situation. So it's difficult for him to turn and drive down in across that bottom like he needs to on corner exit.
But that would be a difference. We talk about Xfinity versus Cup. The more power of the Cup car, don't you think drive-off's got to be the biggest challenge versus yesterday's race?
Yeah, that's right. And with the more horsepower, you're carrying more speed into the corner as well. So it's hard to get them to turn and see the competition caution. I'm going to tell you something, guys. The team and the driver's got to be happy right now. Is this right here, Kurt Busch? He's led more laps today than Ford has in the last 4 races here. So we talked about that Toyota dominance. Well, right now, they're taking it to them. So now we're getting ready to have pit stops. And we saw major changes with Stewart-Haas Racing this week. They made changes trying to make their pit stops better. Here's Joe Gibbs Racing, average time of 15:24. Stewart-Haas Racing of 15:68. So if indeed these teams elect to pit right here, we're going to find out right now if these changes were effective.
Yeah, we have a list of those changes, and you can see it's a lot of tire changes moving around. Greg Zipadelli told me this week, he said, guys, remember, these pit stops changed. At the beginning of the year, we went from 6 to 5. People's roles changed. We had to let that happen and see who was strongest in what position, and because of that, he feels those are why we're seeing the roster change now. But to your point, that's all fine on paper. The proof's in the pudding, right? We got to get them on pit road and see how their pit stops
And they moved people around. They didn't really get rid of anyone. They just moved them around and put them with different teams.
Now I'll be interested to see as we see the crews getting ready. Remember, Parker mentioned the 48 was going to stay out. We'll see most of the leaders hit pit road here, Parker.
Addy Wood with the 48. Hopefully we'll see him going around. Chad Knaus told him keep those tires clean. But you see the 11 of Danley Hammond pit in there. He's going to do 4 tires right now, just struggling with a little bit of a tight condition, chattering those front tires on exit. Ahead of him, Kyle Busch in the 18 car doing 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel as well, and struggling with a bit of loose on exit right now, Marty.
Jeff talking about all those laps. Kurt Busch led all 37 to this point, and veteran leadership behind the wheel. He said the car feels a little bit tight. It has loose moments, but I still want to free up the car even a little bit more. A lot of 2-tire decisions here on pit road. The 41 going with 4, though. That'll cost him some track position.
You see it right here, the race off pit road brought to you by Kroger Click List. A lot of opportunity. Guys take 2, other guys take 4. Not to mention, other guys stayed on the racetrack. This is short track racing, right? It jumbles up the running order all the time. Rick Allen.
Yeah, frustration down here out of the infield care center. AJ Allmendinger comes out, and you said that you think there was some contact early on that cut that tire?
Yeah, I thought Newman got up into the side of me pretty early. It felt fine while that run was going on. The caution came out, and we went back green. The first lap, it didn't quite feel right, but I was on the bottom. And down the front straightaway, I felt it really go. And I did everything I could to try to slow it down and at least just get out of the way. And once you get high up here, you can't save it. So it's disappointing. You know, everybody at a race team, at Kroger, all of our partners. So, you know, try to get ready next week and get the Kroger Clickless Chevy good at Pocono, and then obviously go to Watkins Glen. But been a tough few weeks, and yeah, I'm not really sure what else to think.
Well, I can tell you're frustrated, but we're glad that you're okay. Thanks, AJ. Guys?
Thanks, Rick. As you mentioned, great to see AJ okay. So, guys, we talk about decisions by the pit crews. Well, that's put a bunch of new faces at the front of the field. Stenhouse Jr., Jimmy Johnson, Kenseth McMurray, a lot of new names. Let's listen into the 48.
Got a bunch of guys stand up behind us, bud. Then we got a 3 rows of 2 tires. So this is good, bud. This is good.
Kyle Larson, he pitted for tires first caution. Come down pit road again. I think he just got 2 tires there. Figured he might have stayed out, but they decided to come back down.
Well, here they come to the Geico restart zone. Let's see if Jimmy Johnson can take advantage of this strategy.
Great run. Great restart for him on the inside there.
Instantly see the chaos behind him as Brad Keselowski jumped out to try to make it 3 wide. Ricky Stenhouse, Jimmy Johnson continue to battle at the front of the field.
Matt Kenseth up in the front.
All side by side for the lead. How about Stenhouse crossing over and almost trying to pinch the 48, hold him down right on the bottom of the racetrack. I think it helped his exit a little bit, but Jimmy is able to stay inside the 17. See if he tries to take away that lower exit again.
Yes, interesting. Ricky actually entered it with left sides out of that sticky part of the racetrack. Worked for him, though. Inside tires are on that gray. Just like that. He's kind of cutting that corner a little bit. We see other guys enter higher. Parker.
Guys, think about the position Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is in right now, fighting to make the playoffs, 9 points behind Alex Bowman, trying to hold off Jimmy Johnson here, and I talked to him about being the lead man at Roush Fenway Racing. I asked him, how does it feel? What is it that going through your mind all the time? He goes, you know, I never noticed my effect on this organization until I won those 2 races last year, and we made the playoffs, and I could see the whole place rally around me, and now I feel like I have the weight of the entire organization on my shoulders to make the playoffs, and it's performances like what they're pulling off right now with strategy to get themselves up front, which might just get them there.
You know, Parker, I have to echo what he's saying about his company. I didn't know how to judge Ricky Stenhouse at Roush Fenway until you saw Matt Kenseth jump in that other car. As you see the points on the left side of your screen, that 17 car, while leading the race, that puts him in the playoff picture. So, you know, instantly, that's a green light to the playoffs, but he's going to have to continue to battle as the 48 is right there. And look, right behind the 48 guys, Martin Truex Jr., he pitted under the last yellow and has quickly moved through these guys that stayed on the racetrack.
Yeah, Jimmy Johnson, if he was going to get this lead, he needed to obviously do it earlier. I know he's trying as hard as he could, but here comes Truex, and he's going to put a ton of pressure on Jimmy Johnson.
Oh, I love this view right here. Contact, I think.
Look at that.
More contact. Right behind Truex is Ryan Blaney, who, I mean, inches off of his bumper.
So listen, in the pre-race show, Dale, you and Dale Jarrett talked about using someone up. Is that what we're seeing? Is this normal, acceptable racing here at Loudon?
Yeah. Hey, man, that didn't hurt nobody. Down to Marty.
And guys, certainly a sense of urgency for Ryan Blaney, right? We saw how good his car was early in the run on the last run. So, Jeff, when your car's good early in the run, you want to take advantage while you can. So, Truex can't lift because he knows that 12's breathing down his neck.
I think that's the key. I think you've got to take advantage of your car where it's strong. And if that's restarts, then go get some and try to find a place to kind of chill out and save tires when you can. But you got to pick up spots. You're watching Monster Energy Cup Series racing from New Hampshire Speedway. And we have a new leader, Martin Truex Jr.
Let's take a look at how it happened. Good turn here.
Those 2 fresh tires definitely helping the 78, not to mention a very fast race car.
Watch him drive down in the corner here on the apron, man. He is putting this thing wherever he wants. That is a good handling car.
As you see on the bottom right, the 17 of Ricky Stenhouse gets passed by the 12 and now under battle from the 48. But let's remember, before all this pit cycle and this strategy and all that, the 17 was running 20th.
Yep.
You know, he's currently running in 3rd position. So even if he fell back to 8th, 9th, 10th, Jeff, I feel that that is a good decision by Brian Patty, trying to give his team, his driver, a little bit of hope, prove how good his cars can be if they have track position.
Wow. You were talking about the 17, and the 41 car had all 4 tires of Kurt Busch on below the yellow line on the apron on the exit of 2, trying to get by Jimmy Johnson. Caution. Debris on the front straightaway is what we're being told.
I see it right past the start-finish line. There's a big chunk of something. It's black, carbon fiber, perhaps. That would definitely create a flat tire.
That is a cover for oil pump belt.
Oh,
be my guess.
I mean, if it zoomed in anymore, we could, those little things you saw were temp strips. And we could see what temp that was running.
That's worth some points there, Jeff.
I mean, I think it is.
Yeah.
Shows you how good drivers are behind the wheel, because Martin Truex Jr. said there's debris on the front stretch. I think it's part of a spring rubber. He was a little bit off, but at least he saw the debris and reported it to NASCAR. The leader did.
Now, these are the decisions that are tough here. 23 to go before the end of the stage. Do you pit? Do you not? We saw, I mean, new tires obviously mattered. The Truex and Blaney got up there, but Stenhouse is holding on.
This being such a short race, do you take these opportunities early if you really need to work on some balance issues?
You do, but remember, 23 laps, we're giving out stage points.
Right.
So those guys in the battle, as I have we see the Connecticut native, Joey Logano, he's going to come to pit road. Him and Todd Gordon decided, to your point, let's come down, try to make our car better.
You can't pit later to adjust. You just got to stay out and keep that track position.
But part of their decision, Steve, they had a slow stop. They tried to do tires earlier, but had a slow stop. So, and actually lost spots, Marty.
Exactly right, Jeff, and that certainly played into Todd Gordon's decision-making here, because they came down, took right-side tires, and lost spots, as you mentioned, Jeff, on that last stop. So Todd Gordon making the call here for fresh Goodyear tires. Logano also saying the car too tight for him, so an air pressure adjustment as well, and we'll see what that leads them to do in 22 laps when the stage ends.
Dale, you called it. You know, you have to, in the last 50 or 100 laps of this race, man, you're set. I mean, you just can't come down and make these big adjustments.
So you were talking about Martin Truex Jr. I'm sorry, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I was watching behind that, and look at this move. I mean, Kurt Busch has got all 4 tires below the apron. Look how there's no banking on the racetrack right there, and how close he got to that inside wall trying to get by Jimmy. Rick, what you got on the 42?
Well, Kyle Larson was just behind those guys, and so he was able to watch that incredible move there. But Kyle Larson running up in the top 10, he was the highest scored driver that had come to pit road prior to the competition caution. They changed 4 tires on that first stop that I had my eyes closed, and then the second one that came in, it did right side tires. And so he said he was a little bit tight end, loose off. They're trying to get that adjusted. But while I'm here in his pit stall, I'm looking at these guys, and the amazing thing about pit crews that I'm able to sit here and watch and be enamored by is these guys can be relaxed, sitting back here, watching the race with us, and then within a matter of seconds have helmets on, gloves on, ready to jump over the wall and do anything they need to do to make the 42 faster. So these guys are minute men, but I would guess I'd call them second men. They are ready in a matter of seconds to jump over the wall.
I equate them to kickers.
Exactly.
Right? They stand on the sidelines until you get tapped on the shoulder, and then it's all right, but you're in the game. Go do your best. True professionals.
Yeah, you expect everything to go perfect, you know what I mean? It's a very tough job.
Got a restart coming here with Truex and outside line. Ryan Blaney, who's made that bottom work, starting on the front row as well. Got to go restart zone. That's going to work out. Truex gets a good jump. He's clear.
Blaney did not get a good start. It caused 3 wide behind him.
Inside lane had to check up hard. And you got Stenhouse on the inside with old tires really backing that inside line up, costing Kurt Busch tons of positions here.
Got Chase Elliott battling for 3rd. Chase started back in 10th. Careful there, Blaney. Don't push him too far.
I wonder if Chase Elliott was as nervous as we were that the 12 was going to come up.
Well, that just makes you as a driver say, all right, bud, you're not going to give me room. Guess what? You're not going to get any from me.
Hey guys, Chase Elliott's admitted that this is not one of his better tracks, but he seems really happy with the 9 car right now. He said he started off a little bit free, but it ended up snug rolling there. When I talked to crew chief Alan Gustafson today, he said, hey, the bad news is we don't go very fast, but the good news is that we don't slow down very much either. So this is a car that certainly should be better over those long green flag runs we typically get here at New Hampshire.
Look at this shot here. We're going to bumper cam of William Byron, the 24, man. They're in a big old pack of cars here.
I don't want to watch.
Yeah, I do. I do.
Oh, man.
Man, that's fun stuff. It makes you want to get out there. Anybody want a relief driver?
That's the difference between a guy that drives and a guy that has to fix them right there.
Yeah, that's right.
Man, look at those guys work. Look at that Cameron's car dance across the track, getting on entry.
So if you're watching the driver work, and I'm watching the car, I mean, look at that left rear tire of the 11 as it reaches for grip. You can actually see the tire kind of moving around, shaking. This, I mean, we're looking up underneath the 11 right here. Perfect shot.
Yep. Down the straight. Look at the top of the quarter panel where the tire is and how close it is to the quarter panel in the corner, and then how far away it is on the straightaway if we get a chance at that. He's going to the top here. Those tires flex, all that suspension moving.
This shot shows perfectly the grooves through the middle of the corner. Watch as we follow Denny Hamlin in. He's going to stay up on that dark point. All 4 tires in it. Ooh, the 24 rolled right up on him. Now the 11 crosses over, puts that left rear in it. 24 couldn't cross over because look who's inside him, the 22 of Joey Logano, who just took fresh tires under the last pit stop.
If we stay here going into turn 3, you see the bumps. There's bumps in the braking zone entering the corner, but there are also some down in the center, deep into turn 3. That's the ones that are going to be the biggest problem for the drivers. Got bumps here, bam, 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 and then down here a little further. Right there, through there. There's another one, boom. Those bumps are going to be the problem for the drivers as this track rubbers up.
Well, we saw a little bit ago Ryan Blaney racing Chase Elliott really, really tough. Well, then Kurt Busch, Kyle Busch, I'm sorry, getting into the side of Blaney. Talked about Chase Elliott battling with Blaney. Well, guess what? Chase has gotten up to second, drove by Jimmy Johnson, and now he's trying to run down Martin Truex Jr., the leader.
You're watching Monster Energy Cup Series racing from New Hampshire, the Foxwoods Resort Casino 301. And guys, if you've never been there, great place. Never been lucky there, but a great resort.
Get NASCAR coverage when you're on the go with NASCAR Mobile. The official app of NASCAR puts race coverage and live in-car cameras right at your fingertips. Try out the premium features including live driver audio, enhanced telemetry, and an ad-free experience by signing up for a free 7-day trial. Search NASCAR in the App Store or type NASCAR.com/mobile in your browser.
I'll give you an A+.
Thank you.
A+.
Good. Hammered that out. Let's go back to the racing.
Well, we saw Joey Logano on pit road, did 4 tires, and since the restart, he's picked up 17 spots. So Joey Logano on the move, 4 tires. That has not been something that's worked here in the past. Track position has always been king, but he's rewriting the rules right now.
It's been fun to watch him go from 28th to 11th and now going to take 10th from his teammate Brad Keselowski. Very happy with the car. Joey hasn't said much at all, but Steve, I would assume if you're a crew chief on pit road, you're watching that and you've noticed, man, those 4 tires made a massive difference for that 22.
Oh, Marty, I'm watching, I'm taking notes because that is happening quickly. As you mentioned, or Jeff mentioned, plus 18 already. But how about this? Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Dale, you talked about the playoff standings and trying to get points. We are 5 laps away from the end of the stage, trying to get those stage points. I don't know if he'll hold off Logano, but if he can finish in the 10th, that's that extra point. They all add up.
That's right. I mean, right now he's sitting there to the good, plus 7 over over Alex Bowman, excuse me. So he can at least hold on to 10th place ahead of Keselowski. That's another point.
And these guys, when you look at not just where they run, as we see Logano go to the bottom, stage points, you know, they don't score quite as many as the guys leading the playoff standings. So this is like finding a point. Little Easter egg hunt where they found an extra point.
Yep, that pass right there. Now he's only plus 5 over Alex.
Can he hold off the 2 of Keselowski for 4 more laps? If I'm Brian Patty, I'm letting him know, listen, buddy, there's a point on the line here. 4 laps to the end of the stage.
Kyle Larson, we've not seen him in front of the pack today. Tells me his car's just not driving the way he wants it to drive. So you see right here, entering 1, way high, trying to make that outside work, but way loose getting into the corner. That's difficult to do here in New Hampshire, driving a loose car on entry.
Back to this battle with Stenhouse, doing a nice job.
Yeah. Sure. Oh, out of the groove. Out of the groove. Parker, what do you got?
Well, Steve, you were talking about Ricky Stenhouse and what they're doing there by finding this extra point, basically, by finishing 10th in this stage. And I talked to his crew chief, Brian Patty, about that, and he's explained the same thing to me about how, you know, you don't really have the speed to run the top 10. But one thing he and Ricky do is before every weekend, they look where they need to finish, and they've decided they need to have a 12th place average finish in position to make the playoffs. That includes getting those extra points in the stages, so this really helps them on their average.
So we get points coming down to 1 lap to go to end this stage. Truex led the most laps here in the last 2 races. He's going to win this stage if everything goes well in this final lap. Get him another playoff points going into the championship contending rounds.
He's really been chasing the 18 and the 4 car. They don't have as many points left. He's been on a run lately and
sure has.
closed that gap. So here's another opportunity to gain some points.
You see on the right side, oh my goodness, on the apron is Eric Almirola trying to get by the 17. 17 is going to race him very, very hardly because this is the 10th position in the last point to be paid in this stage. You see on the left, Truex, as you mentioned, easily wins the stage. Stenhouse, is he going to cross him over?
Can't do it.
Man, close to scoring points, but he's going to miss out. The first driver who does not score points in the first stage at New Hampshire. And as you mentioned, Truex Jr., another playoff point, another stage win. You're watching Monster Energy Cup Series racing from New Hampshire Speedway. Stage 1 in the books. The whole field's coming around here. Pit road is open. It's going to be busy on pit road, Parker.
That it is, and Jimmy Johnson's going to pit out of 3rd place. Remember, they used that strategy call by not pitting on the competition caution to steal some of that track position. They're going to do 4 Goodyear tires and an air pressure adjustment and Sunoco fuel. And just think about this. He's trying different lines on the racetrack every lap, Kelly.
Chase Elliott in that 9-car pitting from second, said his car chatters a little bit to start, and it's been a little bit loose, but he expects it to tighten up. No chassis adjustment, just 4 Goodyear tires, Marty.
3 straight stage wins for Martin Truex Jr. Said his car was a little bit too free when he left the dark gray part of the racetrack. They make an air pressure adjustment, add some tape to the front of the grill as well. Truex will hold serve here on pit road with 4 fresh Goodyear tires.
See right here, most everyone takes 4 tires. How about those Stewart-Haas Racing changes on pit road? Kurt Busch gained a spot, came off 3rd.
Down a dream that never would come to me. Working on a mystery, going wherever it leads. Running down a dream.
Time now for the Toyota Social Spotlight. Let's go to our newest pit reporter, our man Rick Allen at the Peacock Pit Box.
They're even going to let me use the touchscreen. I can't believe this. All right, I'm supposed to hit that button and then hit that. Look at this. Okay, folks, we're going to send in social media comments about who wanted to have a lobster dinner with which driver. Well, Steve tried to cover all of his bases because he said, I'm from New Hampshire, I drive a Toyota Tacoma, and I'm an avid deer hunter. So I would have a lot of conversations, obviously, with Martin Truex Jr. How about Denny Hamlin, just to see his reaction when they put the lobster on the table, because obviously he's terrified of those. And down here, Pat Nicola said, well, Denny Hamlin, because then I'd get 2 lobsters because he knows that he would not want a lobster. And then, of course, this is Barry Lockhart. He said, you know what, I'd like to hear his Southern accent impersonation. So mixed Daniel Suarez, Martin Truex Jr., and Denny Hamlin.
I personally like I get his lobster because he's scared of him. That's
a man after my own heart.
Guy. So we talked about pit stops and Stewart-Haas Racing, how every one of their teams picked up a spot. Well, watch the 48 pit stop. This doesn't look bad, right? It's not a terrible pit stop. Came in running 3rd, but a little bit slow on the right rear. Right rear catches up. They both leave at the same time. So, Steve, this doesn't look like a bad stop, but to show how close things are today, he lost 2 spots with this stop, Parker.
And guys, the reason being, he got too close to that wall, and then it made it too hard to exit with the 6 pulling in.
Right, the perfect example. Drivers involved in these pit stops as well.
Field's creeping up to the Geico restart zone. Truex on the outside again. He's been dominant out there. This time, Chase Elliott on the inside. Green is out. Truex again clearing pretty easily before they even get to turn 1. Chase battling back on entry.
There's Harvick in that 4 car on the outside all day long. In practice yesterday, he had the best car. Haven't seen a live explosion. Kyle Busch making a move.
I don't think Kyle expected Chase to get up there in that outside groove, but Chase knew how important it was to be there, so he had to force the issue.
Chase, you just see how good of a launch you get that.
That's why you got to be that aggressive on them restarts to take the line you want. You're right about Kevin. He was the best car all weekend in practice, and he's been mired in traffic back in the field. So first opportunity to see what he can do as he gets toward the front of the field in cleaner air.
But you guys talked about this. Remember, the track is going to change. The 4 was fastest in practice on a track that everybody had practiced on. Now it looks like his car's getting better.
There you go.
Crew Chief Rodney Childers on that 4 told me that he was up till 1 a.m. Friday working on simulation and race setup. He said at about 12:15 a.m. he decided to go with a completely different setup for this 4 car. He said it's really nice to see it pay off. It certainly would have been frustrating if we were bad in practice on Friday, but they like their speed, short run, long run. Last restart he made up 5 spots. See if he can make a couple more here now.
Thanks, Kelly. And as we're watching this great battle, a little update, the 13 of Ty Dillon was black flagged for a restart violation, so he'll be coming to pit road.
They also wanted to clarify, guys, the reason the 42 came back down onto pit road, they thought they had loose nuts, so they said they had to come down to make sure that they were all tight. That's why they came down a second time.
Let's take a look at the replay of that restart here. This is from Harvick's car. How
Still there.
9. Oh, look at that. The 9 forcing his way to the top. Surprised Kyle a little bit. Kyle was trying to keep his momentum going without lifting. You could tell he was almost out of control, but didn't want to lift off the throttle because he had a little bit of run. Marty.
Hey, Junior, missing from the picture up front is Ryan Blaney. We got to go pretty far back to the 18th spot to find him. He was running 5th when he came down pit road. They have left rear damage from contact on the racetrack at the end of stage 1 with Kyle Busch. But when they came down pit road, they were able to pull that damage out. Took a little longer here on pit road, but they lost a ton of track position.
Well, in that left rear, maybe not as sensitive for aerodynamics, but you were talking about earlier when we were on that bumper camera how close that is to that tire. We saw AJ Allmendinger have a flat left rear tire. So you got to make sure that has clearance. You can't get a flat tire.
It's been he'll be working hard. Losing that track position, 75 laps, you know, into the race. It's tough to you know, it's a 300-lap race. That's a mistake. You talked about it, Steve, how those kind of mistakes can take your opportunity to win away. So that I don't know how he gets his way back up toward the front and contends for the win.
Yeah, because the other you know, the other crew chiefs are going to try to hold them down. And talk about holding them back. It looks like the 20 of Eric Jones is kind of holding this line up. Well, this right here is a view out the front. It looks peaceful out front, Jeff. A little bit busy behind. Take us for a ride with this helmet cam.
Well, first thing you do, look on the left side. Look at this A-post mirror. He can see that inside line. He's got to use that for defense. He sees Ryan Newman right there. You can see Ryan Newman. He knows Ryan's on his door going into turn 1.
Wave to him.
There he is.
There you go, Ryan.
Trying to drive in the corner as far as you can without overdriving. Ryan slides in front. Cross him over. Stand in the gas.
Boom.
There you go.
Pearl
Don't give that
inside.
position that easy. Great move by Eric. Ryan just drove in the corner too hard. Eric saw it coming, lifted, stood in the throttle, was able to turn left, but Ryan got the position. He may not have gotten the spot, but he got the position he wanted. That was on the outside of Eric Jones. Sometimes it's not about making the pass, it's about putting your car in position. Eric Jones trying to block Blaney. Blaney in the back of him. It's hectic in there. I mean, you're looking at the mirror, you got the left side mirror, you see Blaney making the move, and now you're frustrated. If you're Eric Jones, you're like, man, I just lost 2 spots. We haven't run well today. It's so frustrating. Spotters got to get you calmed down, get you refocused.
And it's a rhythm racetrack, right?
Yes.
I mean, does it just take you out of your rhythm?
But yeah, you can't have a rhythm. When there's a guy on your door banging on you, a guy hitting you in the rear bumper, you no longer have a rhythm. They hit you hard enough where it's just about surviving. It's no longer about trying to keep your spot.
There's some contact with the 12 and the 20 earlier. Oh, man, he just
hit him? Is that what you're going to say? Just hit him?
Pretty much it. You saw it.
Pretty much it.
Just runs right through there.
I saw you were searching for that word.
Blaney is just, you know, Blaney's fired up. Lost all his spots. He's upset. He knows he's only got a matter of time before the tires start to even out. He has to go while he has a little bit of an advantage on these guys.
And Junior, the workload just goes up. I mean, it's crazy how much harder it is as Newman gives him the spot. That's something you don't see a whole lot of, Ryan Newman giving a spot up. But it's so much harder running in 10th, 12th, 14th position than it is in second.
When you got a great car like Blaney does, you know you're faster than these guys, and you need to get by them early, because if you can't get by them, you're kind of stuck behind them too long later in the run. It's harder and harder to pass these guys on the older tires.
Well, he knows he's faster than them, and they know he's faster than they are. Ryan Newman points the 12 to the bottom, gets back in line, loses as little time on the racetrack as possible. Hey guys, let's take a look at today's Track Facts brought to you by Mobile One. And today's Track Facts, winners, all-time winners. Hey, the guy standing next to us, Dale, Jeff Burton with 4, but look at all the names with 3. 6 of those guys are in the race today. Dale, you mentioned 11 past winners. It's just crazy to have that many winners in the race.
Yeah, usually we don't have 11 past winners in any race. I mean, that really surprises me. We come here and you have that many past winners in this event. That tells me that the big 3 might not be the guys that bring the trophy home today.
Are you going to take it personal? Someone else gets the 4?
Oh, I was just going to say, I hope none of those 6 win. No, it'd be great.
Yeah.
I just want to see a good race. I don't care who.
Truex is leading the race right now. He's led a lot of laps in the last 2 events here, but
Jeff, I liked your line. What's going to happen? What did Jeff say? That 41's no joke today, guys. No joke. This 41 of Kurt Busch, another 3-time winner, was just on that list, man. He's hanging around, not going anywhere.
I was looking at his lap times in practice, and you know, because he's a pole sitter, didn't know that he had that kind of speed, this kind of speed that we're seeing today. Didn't think he had that kind of car, but when Kurt Busch is on his game, he's just like his brother Kyle. When he is focused and determined, he will not let you beat him. He will do everything he has to do to. These 2 guys right here, there's something about both of these guys. They have a raw ability in their personality, some sort of a trait that makes them really, really tough to beat.
Do you think somewhere deep down it's their brother? Like racing against your brother? Like, did you ever race against
Maybe
Kerry?
growing up racing each other, that they drove each other to be so competitive. But, you know, Kurt was the one that came along first. And
just say yes. You know it's yes. You know it's a yes.
How do I
You
know?
wanted to beat your brother. You want to beat your brother, man.
How about Ward? Me and Kerry never raced the same track, hardly.
Well, yeah, Ward and I wanted. Yeah, both of us wanted to be the guy. We wanted to be the Burton, right?
Yeah. I just think maybe that is. They drove each other a little bit, but they both have the same passion or tenacity for winning, and they fight so hard for it. Not many guys really have that kind of determination. Harvick working his way into this battle. The brothers, Busch brothers, working hard to fight each other. Harvick's drove right in here. Look at the 18 there. Slowed way down. Marty.
Hey, Junior, Kurt's having a very nice day, and that sort of mentality you're talking about goes through the entire race team. Billy Scott told me, listen, we're making calls to win races. We're 183 points above the cut line. We've got nothing to lose, and we saw that last week, Steve, with the mentality of 2 tires. They kept doing it at Kentucky, so they're making calls on this 41 with an aggressive attitude, not worrying about where they are in the championship standings. They want to win.
We're watching this great battle back here for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Well, in front of them, Chase Elliott in the 9 car, I think, is running down the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. Look, why is that important? We've talked about this. The playoff points, and if you look down in 15th at plus 81, this 9 of Chase Elliott, he can't lean on that. He has to go out, run well, continue to get points to assure a spot in the playoffs. Kelly.
And when he started the race, he was just 51 points above that cutoff line. When I talked to Chase Elliott's crew chief, Alan Gustafson, about it, he said, look, it's definitely concerning. He said there is no margin for error now. They'd really feel more comfortable if they could put other guys in between them and that cutoff line. Well, right now he's setting himself up for at least a good points day, if not a win, Rick.
Yeah, right now, 18th in the playoff standings. Paul Menard is running 10th, which could be a good points day for him as well. He's 23 points back at the start of the race. But I have to think if the track gets a little bit loose, maybe a little bit slick, he'd be good because he's a 10-time International Ice Racing Association event winner. Parker?
Well, Rick, the guy on the outside looking in is only 2 points back. That's Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who runs 14th right now. We showed you how he just narrowly missed out on that extra point there at the end of stage 1. And the thing is, though, with this 17 car, I asked him earlier today, what is it like having to tell yourself to run to a number, to run to that 12th place average? He said, you know, it's really tough. I can get into it for a couple weeks, but every now and then Jack Roush has to say, stick with me, bud. We're going to figure this out, Rick.
Well, Alex Bowman coming in right above the cut line as far as playoffs goes, plus 9. He's running 21st, though, so not the run that he was looking for. He mentioned to me before the race that Phoenix is a great racetrack for him, and he thinks this might be one of his worst racetracks here. But running 21st, he's hoping to get some points to stay above that cut line.
Well, we got that report from Rick about Paul Menard and the run he's having today, but it's not just today. Paul Menard finished 11th last week. He's been running in the front. This team is starting to find their rhythm. Remember, this is a new team. This is not the same team that Blaney drove for last year. It's a different crew chief, different group of guys in some respects. So it's taking Paul Menard and his crew chief a little bit of time to get working together. Greg Irvin's doing a great job. How loose he is right there, but he's climbing those points. He now, if there's racing it right now today, which is not going to, but he's only 10 points back from that cut line. Paul Menard and this team doing a great job over the last month.
Another thing I'm seeing that's pretty exciting for the Chevy camp is Chase Elliott. I mean, we talk about how great, well, he's jumped out of the groove right there, but we talk about how great of a run he's having. This is really a big deal for Chevrolet to have this car up in the second position and only a second behind Martin Truex Jr. and running laps faster. That last lap over a 10th faster than Martin Truex Jr. This is great. I know this ain't a mile and a half. This doesn't mean that Chevy's back, but they need this kind of a performance today.
So an odd stat that Chase doesn't want to hear. 4 of his last 5 second place finishes. Chase Elliott was runner-up to either Truex or Kyle Busch.
It doesn't get any better than Dwayne Johnson hanging off the top of the tallest building in the world while it's on fire. Don't miss Action Movie Event of the Summer. Legendary Skyscraper now playing.
Man, I'm buying a ticket after that. I'm in.
On fire, you said.
On fire.
On fire.
How about this view right here, man?
So I wish I had this view of my car in practice when I was a crew chief, right? Like, I wish I could, man, send William Byron out and say, hey, man, follow our car so I can watch it.
I love this because this reminds me of back in the day, like when we started doing TV every week, they were putting cameras wherever they could put them because, you know, we were just like, hey, cool, mount a camera there, mount a camera there. So it's been a while since we've had a camera just like this to show you exactly. It gives you such a perfect vantage point of what the racetrack looks like, what the surface is like, what the camber and the banking's like, where the groove is, the seams, all that stuff, man. And also, when we can get closer to some of those cars up front, it gives you such a great idea of what the driver's fighting. Is he losing rear grip? Is he tight? I like seeing what the drivers are fighting because we know these drivers aren't just riding around out here. They are on top of the track battling, turning the wheel, fighting the steering wheel. Look at him yanking on that wheel there, man. He's got an 8-to-1, 10-to-1 box. Those little movements in the steering wheel are huge underneath the hood.
All right, 8-to-1, 10-to-1. You're going to have to get a little bit more depth with that one.
That's
so
quick.
To him. That's right.
It's like a go-kart shit. Like
basically, what he's saying is basically this, right? If you have a real slow box, it's like steering a bus. You move your hands a lot.
Which would be a 10-to-1.
Yeah, you move your hands a lot. The front tires don't move. You get down to those lower numbers, like 8-to-1. That's a real quick ratio. Your hands move just a little bit. The front tires move a little bit.
That's right. Thank you.
I mean, you dropped some knowledge on us right there.
I'm sorry. I just, just love this view so much. I just want my producer to stay right here.
That was outstanding. So now,
stay right here.
Jim, just to be clear,
put this in a little box.
He
put
gave
this
us
in a little box up at the top.
And he's directing.
So you and I can go eat ice cream.
We're good.
I want a, where's the helmet cam? Put that up in the left.
That's a different car. But it's a good shot. We can look at the helmet cam. Eric Jones, he has the helmet cam. There you go.
But the helmet cam gives you such a good idea of how violent it is for the drivers, how much they're getting beat up in the race car.
So to be clear, the right is the front bumper of William Byron. The left is the helmet of Eric Jones. And if you look way off in the distance, Eric Jones is about half a straightaway behind William Byron.
That's right.
Well, I thought you were going to say way off in the distance. You can see Junior smiling because he had both the cameras that he wanted.
My favorite.
Oh, man. He gets to choose the wardrobe, gets to direct the race. He's lost control. You see right here, yeah, the 20 of Eric Jones. Just sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. He's had quite an eventful day. Currently running at 18th.
It's not the day we thought he'd have. A little bit of contact with Kyle early in the race, right there.
That wasn't it. Then he gets a shot right here from the 31 of Ryan Newman. Well, then Blaney sees Newman do it, so he says, "Hey, I'm going to hit you too."
He wants to get in on some of the fun.
Why not?
And Eric Jones back in 18th spot. Kelly.
Yeah, and Jeff, not the day that they expected to have. This team was really optimistic heading into the race. Crew Chief Chris Gale telling me that Eric had been really happy with the balance in this car during practice. Right now, Eric's saying that he's just way too loose, but then plowing on exit. And he thinks it might be what they did on their last pit stop. Have a listen.
Crashing loose. I don't know what we seized here, but we're just crashing loose. Okay, head forward, just a little bit of air pressure.
So he feels like they're kind of going backwards. On top of it, you can hear his radio's a bit scratchy. Chris Gale telling him, keep your feedback really short and concise.
Yeah, Kelly, that's so frustrating if you're a driver because, you know, you made a change, you came in and pitted, now you can't drive the car. It's so loose. But for the crew chief, he says, hey, man, all the change was a little bit of air pressure. So difficult situation for both the driver and the crew chief. You can see he's talking with his hands. Drivers talk with their hands. He's mad if he just upset. It's so difficult to see that wheel movement. Get your hands on the wheel. That would help.
He's driving on that thing, man.
This stuff's so hard. It's just, you know, he's running a 30-46. Fast guy's a 30-16. 3/10 off when you're driving or working on a race car. That feels like an eternity.
Oh, yeah.
Wrecking loose. That's just the back of the car. Has no grip whatsoever, and he cannot drive in the car as deep as he wants to. Can't stand in the throttle. Just can't turn the wheel. Eric Jones having a tough start of this race.
All right, 22 laps to go in the second stage. What's that mean, Fantasy Live players? The garage, as we see Chase Elliott makes a big swerve 4 wide below the 78 there, but it's time to go to your garage. I look up, both you guys are on your phone. The question is, who's going to win this stage, the 78 or Chase Elliott, guys?
Well, Martin Truex Jr. looked up. He had 2 lap cars in front of him, and now he has Chase Elliott all over him.
Martin's lead's been about a half a second for the last several laps, even though Chase has been a little bit quicker and coming up on lap traffic. I knew that might be an opportunity for Chase.
Ross Chastain and Bubba Wallace contact and move Martin up the racetrack. Chase is like, all right, that's my shot.
There's a lot going on there. Look at them guys trying
but
to
use that to get to him. Now that he's got to him, he's putting a ton of pressure on Martin.
He's been a 10th or at least half a 10th quicker every lap, so he seems to have a better car and just keep applying that pressure to Martin, and Martin could slip up out of this PJ1.
And the year that this 9 car has had with Chase Elliott, you know they're hungry to get this pass. He's got a shot.
He's working hard, man. See him off of turn 4.
See how he drives straight to the bottom.
Look how deep into the corner he sends it.
Yellow.
Slide job.
I knew you were going to say it. I loved it. I was waiting.
There it is. Now he's got the lane he wanted. He wanted the outside. Martin Truex Jr. Now he has a decision. Is he going to try to slide job? He does not take that chance. Does not drive in the corner as deep as we saw Chase Elliott.
Wow, yeah. Look at the 41 car driving into the picture. You guys talked about his speed earlier today. He's right into this battle for the lead. Can he get by Truex quick and put a little pressure on Elliott before we get to the end of this stage? 18 to go there.
Dale, you talked about how good of a run this was for Chase Elliott. Think about this. Other than Daytona restrictor plate track, this is the first time that Chase Elliott has passed somebody for the lead since last November at Phoenix. That is a long time.
A ton of respect right there by Kurt Busch with Martin Truex Jr. He could have just pulled up in front of him off of 2, did not do it. Martin recognized that, though, and Martin's going to not put a ton of pressure on Kurt, I don't believe, because Kurt showed him so much respect. That's 2 drivers working that out. I mean, that could have been contact. They both made it where it wasn't. Marty.
And, Jeff, I think this really shows the strength of the 9 cars and the 41 cars because Truex has not said a word about the car handling bad. At the end of the run, they were a little bit free last time. But this was the real strength of the 78 team in practice yesterday. They were really strong on these longer runs, but the 41 and the 9 able to get by Truex.
Well, right there, the 41 of Kurt Busch was about a 10th and a half quicker than Chase Elliott leading the race. 16 to go.
You guys keep talking about points, who's in the playoff, and Dale, you guys mentioned playoff points. The 9 is Chase Elliott. He's yet to have any playoff points. He hasn't won a stage or anything. You talk about the 41. Look at this, guys.
Standing in the gas, trying to carry as much speed. Rear tires broke loose. Right there, that lap, the 9 car was better. I'm sorry, it was about a half a 10th slower than Chase Elliott.
Guys, now these last 15 laps, there's two things going on. Obviously, the battle to win the stage, but all these crew chiefs, I know you want to let Chase Elliott, Kurt Busch, Martin Truex focus on what they're doing, but I can't, Dale. I got to be in your head going, hey, man, what do we need? This is only halfway in the race. Why are we getting past? What kind of adjustments we need to make? Rick, with these upcoming pit stops at the end of the stage, adjustments are going to be key.
Absolutely, and don't look now, guys, but Eric Almirola running sixth. The last two laps, he has been the fastest and then second fastest. So Eric Almirola, the man on the move, he said that he's lost the center. It's not rolling as good, but they didn't make any changes the last time. They may be making some changes on this next.
Saw him in that last corner drive that car across the seam and out of the PJ1 up in the top groove where it's really slick. Lost a little time, but saw how fast he was in Chicago. Remember, he was so dominant in Chicago, so good to see Eric with more speed again.
All right here, we're going to see 13 to go to the end of the stage. Will Chase Elliott hold off Kurt Busch? His fans hope so. Look at him cheer when Chase Elliott takes the lead.
Next Sunday, the Verizon IndyCar Series will race the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. Series points leader Scott Dixon will look to capture his second straight win of the season and fourth overall. Race coverage begins 3 p.m. Eastern on CNBC. CNBC. not NBCSN. CNBC.
Hey, man, Scott Dixon, 5-11 IndyCar race in Mid-Ohio winner. So I'd say point leader and favored to win that race.
That CNBC is tough. Parker.
Well, guys, one of the favorites we thought maybe to win this race would have been the 18 of Kyle Busch, but he has not been happy at that race car as you've seen him fall back here all the way to 6th place. He said there's no grip. I can't drive in the corner. I can't turn the center. The car is on top of the track. I've got nothing. I'm loose in, I'm tight in the center, and I can't get to the bottom. And when I get to the bottom, if I get there, I lose the nose and it goes up the track. So he went about a whole lap describing all those things that he did not like about that 18 car.
We was watching him in the battle earlier with Kevin Harvick and Kurt Busch, and he just got out of the gas, just backed up from the guys. And I was wondering, I thought for a second something broke on his car. And then again with Eric Almirola, he didn't really, challenge Eric for that position. So he's waiting on some adjustments. We've got 6 laps to go coming to the start-finish line here. 5 to go. Battle for that lead is heated up.
It's a great battle. Chase Elliott has not won a stage this year. And guess what? This is shocking to me. Chevrolet only has 2 stage wins this year. That is amazing. Marty.
Hey, Jeff, we got the youngster Chase Elliott trying to get that stage win, but how about the veteran guy in second, Kurt Busch? And he said something interesting, Jeff, in the middle of this run. He said, guys, you know what? I'm pushing too hard here. I need to back off a little bit. And you could just hear in his voice that he was going to save something for the end of this run. The result, what you're seeing right now, that 41 coming to the front, trying to get the stage win, Kelly.
And Chase Elliott now has led 16 laps of this race, and he's been really quiet throughout. The only radio chatter is an occasional update from his spotter, Eddie DeHaan, on where that 41 is running and making up time.
Get off at 2 better than him. He rolls a little more speed off the wall with a higher lane to the apex at 3, and his time is off.
And Eddie reiterated again just a lap ago, telling Chase he's better off 2 than that 41.
How about my man Eddie? Sound like we were in a coffee shop. Hey, guys, he's beating you right here, very calm. I like that out of a spotter. That's what Chase needs right now, because with 3 to go, the pressure's on. Kurt Busch trying to force the young driver into a mistake.
That's going to be hard to do. Chase Elliott's not been in this position a lot this year, but over his racing career, Chase Elliott has won at everything he's done, with the exception of cup racing. He knows how to execute. He knows how to finish the deal. I'd be shocked if Chase Elliott made a mistake. Now, they got some lap traffic coming up. That could play a role.
Yeah, he's going to need to get really close, or within a half a car length to a car length of that bumper of that 9 car to put any kind of pressure on him. This is a good enough distance for Chase to have confidence to be able to put the laps together and not have anything to worry about. But if he does get to his bumper or close to his bumper in this lap traffic, with 1 lap to go here, it's going to be tight here. There's a lot of cars up in front of Chase. And if Kurt can get there in 3 and 4, might be able to get him up out of the groove a little bit just by applying a little bit of pressure. Because Kurt knows how important them stage wins are after what happened to him in Chicago with his teammate Kevin Harvick losing that opportunity to get a stage point down in 3 and 4 on the last lap of the stage.
And as hectic as this is for Chase Elliott, it's the same for Chris Buescher at 37. He doesn't want to go a lap down right here. He's going to have to run Chase Elliott off the corner.
Here comes Kurt. He tries real hard to get in there. Through the center of the corner, made a lot of gains.
Stage winner.
There you go. Chase Elliott gets that stage win and that very important playoff point. And the first win for Chevrolet in how long, you say?
Only the third all year.
The third all year. Wow, I didn't know it had that many. I mean, it's been such a dominant season by Ford and Toyota. So big deal there for Chevrolet, all the Chevrolet teams. I feel like they made a little ground up this weekend.
The 22-year-old from Dawsonville, Georgia, first stage win this season. Only the 4th stage win of his entire career.
Down a dream that never would come to me. Working on a mystery, going wherever it leads. Running down a dream.
NASCAR on NBCSN is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the credit card perfect for everyday purchases, and by Coca-Cola, the official fan refreshment of NASCAR.
Next Sunday, Pocono Raceway will host the Monster Energy Cup Series. Race coverage from the Tricky Triangle begins at 2:30 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN. Tricks won there in June. I've got some friends coming to play there. Dangerous Summer Saturday night. We're going to rock. That's going to be a lot of fun.
What I'm looking forward to is that 4 wide into turn 1 on restarts.
Think about that. You go a little Saturday concert, race on Sunday.
I'm having so much fun doing this job that when we go home, when this race is over now, I'm ready to go. Ready to go Pocono.
Like straight to Pocono.
Right to Pocono. Here comes some pit stops. Guys coming down pit road. Leaders on pit road. Kelly.
And you'll see that 9 of Chase Elliott after his first stage win of the season lead him down pit road. He said his car was getting looser as he ran, but that it was very drivable. He was adjusting the track bar inside the cockpit, which he said was a good help. So there'll be no adjustments on pit road, just 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel, Marty.
2 interesting observations from Martin Truex Jr. 1, he says the VHT is almost gone on the racetrack. And 2, he asked his spotter, Clayton Hughes, count cars for me. He wants to start on the outside if he can. Going to be 4 fresh Goodyear tires. He said it needed to turn in the center much longer. What a terrific end of the stage for Kurt Busch. He said the car just a little bit too free in and off the corners, and a tight race off pit road between Chase Elliott and Kurt Busch. We'll have to go to the camera for that one, guys.
Man, it was close. Look at that. The whole top 5. Hold serve. We're going to have to take a look at that camera, though. This was close. Let's see. Yeah, I call it.
I can't call that one.
The 9 by inches. I'll guess. Here at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, we have had quite the battle. Stage 1 winner Martin Truex Jr., one of the big 3, proves why they are the big 3, goes to victory lane. Stage 2, though, how about the youngster, Chase Elliott? Now it's time for the final stage, Monster Energy Cup Series racing from New Hampshire. Guys, what a race we have seen so far. I love the fact that Truex got a win. That's good. Won stage 1. But then Chase Elliott battled back to win stage 2.
Yeah, it's been good racing. These first 2 stages have been crazy. And now we just heard that close race we saw, Kurt Busch won by just a little bit. But, you know, you need to thank the fans.
Oh, yeah,
Not we. You need to thank the fans for our time today.
Yeah, so we had a vote this week, you know, what we're going to wear in the booth, and the fans have voted, and they voted that we could all wear these racing T-shirts. It's a great throwback T-shirt for Dick Trickle. I want to thank the fans for engaging in that vote on social media, and we're having fun with this weekend, and we'll probably be back in the ties and the suits next weekend.
I mean, okay, but listen, I think I picked right. Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. I mean, Chase is out there making it happen.
Have a great day.
Yeah, I like it.
One more thing I want to do. We need to thank the fans that stuck this weather out. The weather forecast was terrible for the whole week, but these fans, it's not a packed house, obviously, but these guys all came. They waited forever to see the race. I want to thank these guys, man. It's hard being a race fan with this weather. Appreciate you guys being here today.
Yeah, these drivers on track are also giving them quite a race. Although you talked about it, Jeff, that race off pit road, you know me, I said, it was the 9 by inches. Well, when you slow things down, not quite as much. NASCAR's determined that the 41, right? So this is our view, but NASCAR has a high-speed camera. They could go frame by frame. And right there, with their camera, a little different view, they have the 41, the leader. He's chosen the top. We'll see how he does on this restart. So those changes of SHR pit crews paying off, Jeff.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and behind them, the 4 car on the outside, he almost beat the 78 off pit road. I think he'd really rather not beat him off pit road, because now he's got that preferred lane on the outside. Coming to the restart. That inside lane all day on the launch has not been able to keep up. But right there, Chase Elliott trying to make the bottom work. Rolls the middle so fast.
He does pretty good. Except on corner X, that outside's going to have the momentum. What a run off that corner for Kurt Busch.
How about Harvick? The run he had and the run that Truex did not get, that has allowed Eric Almirola to get beside the 78.
Look at Eric getting the throttle there. I didn't expect that. He's not going to be able to clear the 78, but that was a really, really good corner exit for that car on the bottom. He's got good speed today.
We've talked all the time about Toyota dominance at New Hampshire. Right now, guys, it's Ford, Chevy, Ford at the front of the field.
Look at Eric. Look at, he's almost clear. Let's see if he gets in front. Nope. Man, he has great turn in the center. So surprised by that car on the bottom. I didn't think the bottom would be this good this late in the race, but we heard him talking about how that outside is starting to wear off. Maybe some of that grip is starting to go away from that outside groove. The inside, they haven't used a ton of the inside yet.
Well, you heard Marty report that 78 was talking about that, and he's working his way through traffic a little bit.
He's going to the bottom. He chose to go to the bottom here, so maybe that bottom groove has got so much more grip than the outside now as it's wearing off on the outside groove. Bottom could become a dominant line late here in the race. See if the 10 can keep it going. Wow, what a move. Aren't y'all surprised by that? I can't believe it.
I am shocked. What'd you call it? That's the Ryan Preece lane. The Ryan Preece lane is coming in, Marty.
Yes, it is, Steve, and that's what Martin Truex Jr. said. You know, interestingly, when he was on pit road, he wanted the outside for the restart. But then he said, as the run goes on, I think the bottom is getting better. So you see Truex wanting the outside at one part of the start and then wanting the inside once they get going.
Wow, what a turn of events. I mean, just went from running everybody running the top, nobody really wanting that bottom, needing that bottom. Now we got a whole another change in the game here.
And that changes the game big time from how aggressive you're going to have to be on restarts. Because if it's a fight for the bottom, that completely changes the game, because now everybody's going to be trying to go there as opposed to giving room. And you see Eric still battling to get this second spot.
Parker. Guys, Kyle Busch came into that pit stop there under that caution 6th. He then went out 11th because they changed a rubber, a packer, and a ton of rounds on that race car. And now he's back up to 6th. So what a drive on that restart by the 18. And we talked about that track changing. The sun just popped out, by the way.
Talked about one guy that we thought might be out of this race. It's Ryan Blaney back there behind Kyle Busch, and he's kind of worked his way back into the hunt after having some difficulties on his pit strategy early.
Jeff, when you said it was going to be a fight for the bottom, all I could think about was a fight to the bumper. Because tracks that end up down around the bottom, how do you get that position? You give the guy a shot going into the corner and turn underneath him.
Think about a faster Martinsville. How aggressive the restarts are there. Start getting your mind on that. That's what you're going to have to do if that bottom lane is the best.
Oh my goodness! Love this camera, man. This lets you, especially on the inside, man, we get to see really how close these guys get and what they'll do to lean on each other and use each other up. Here's the big three all in one picture.
Yeah, man, for once, not for the lead, though.
Yeah.
The big three are 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Crossed him over.
He did.
You saw him slow way up and just throttle up and go underneath Truex. Now, can he make this bottom work? Kevin Harvick left side's on that white line, rolled the middle well. Truex good launch on exit.
Now that's the Kevin Harvick line I normally see. The left side's on the apron.
Back to the bottom again. He chose to go to the bottom. He had Kyle Busch behind him, but chose to go to the bottom.
Kevin Harvick's the only guy I know that either runs the apron or the way up 3rd groove. Kind of never in the middle.
Still on the bottom.
Yeah,
nope, not. I thought he was going to the bottom.
I
went
did
to the
too.
top.
They're getting more confidence to go there, though. We're seeing that for sure.
He's got to play a little defense right now. He sees now the battle for the 78 is gone. 78 got away from him. Now he's got to play defense. Before he was on offense. Now a little bit of defense. Find where your car is strong, where it's weak, and then try to hold the 18 car back. Strategy changes completely in a matter of a lap.
Not missing anything out front. Kurt Busch has a over 2nd lead on Eric Almirola. This is a great battle for 4th, 5th, 6th. Kyle Busch trying to get turned, get up underneath, get that drive off, trying to put the power down. Boy, that thing's trying to spin the tires as he's trying to put the gas down. He's going to jump to the outside as the 4 goes to the bottom.
You get the feeling that's what he wanted. He wanted to see Kevin Harvick jump to the bottom to try to get on the outside of him. He's there, got this position. Kevin's car just is not as good as we thought it was going to be. really hard on the bottom off of 2. Here comes Blaney. So fast earlier in the race. Been earning those spots back, Marty.
And he drove from 20th to 9th on that last run after they repaired the left side damage from contact with Kyle Busch earlier. Then the pit crew gained him 2 spots as well. The only problem right now for Ryan Blaney, someone keeps keying up on their radio. Ryan, in fact, just came on and said, whoever is doing that, please stop it. It's very distracting. I can't imagine what that's like behind the wheel, Jeff, when someone randomly is just keying up on the radio and not saying anything.
I had the same problem here at the same racetrack. It was actually some vendors out here in the parking lot selling T-shirts.
And there sales that day.
I don't know. It wasn't our T-shirts, but it was bleeding into our channel. And there's so, think about that now. There's so many people on so many frequencies out here. You got people selling hot dogs and T-shirts. You got NASCAR. You got the networks. You got the teams. You got fans with scanners. And there's so much happening. A lot of times those signals get crossed, and you're going to have those kind of issues.
Well, Jimmy Johnson, we saw him with battling for the lead early in the race, using some strategy, but since then it's been tough going sideways off the corner.
Welcome back to the Monster Energy Series Racing from New Hampshire, the Foxwoods Resorts Casinos 301. It's pretty good racing out there. Let's go ahead and take a look through the field. Starting with Marty.
How about this run for Kurt Busch? He's led 59 laps now as soon as he crosses the line here. You know, he said, when I've won races here in the past, I was able to turn underneath people and go where they weren't. So far, that's working today for Kurt out front after finishing second the last stage, Rick.
Eric Almirola has a career best at this track of 5th, right now currently running 2nd. When I talked to him during the rain delay, he said he was going back into the bus to play Hungry Hungry Hippo with Alex and Abby. It looks like he's continued that game as he keeps eating positions one after the other. Kelly.
Alan Gustafson, crew chief on the number 9 car, told me practice yesterday was about as much fun as having teeth pulled. He said it just wasn't good at all. They struggled on the car. He felt like they made some mistakes on adjustments throughout that practice. They made more changes overnight, though, and that certainly seems to have paid off at a track that Chase Elliott does not count among his favorites. He's led 24 laps, running 3rd right now, Marty.
Kelly Martin Truex Jr. in 4th. And you know how at Martinsville you'll see teams kind of check up at the end of pit road? Well, we talked about that with Truex. Here is after the last stop, and you see him trying to calculate where he is. He wants Harvick to beat him to the line. He hits the brakes for an instant. It didn't quite work. Martin Truex Jr. actually had to restart 3rd. He wants that outside lane on restart, so he'll be counting cars when he comes to the end of pit road next time through, Kelly. Parker?
Well, Marty, Kyle Busch actually just passed Martin Truex Jr. for that 4th position, and he hasn't spoken on the radio at all, which is a good thing compared to just before this last caution when they did a litany of changes. He fell all the way back to 11th, and now has driven that car all the way up to 4th. That's what you want to see out of your race car driver, Kelly.
We're talking to the crew chief on the number 4 car. Rodney Childers loves being a part of that big 3. He said it really pushes them more and more. They're pushing each other. He said you definitely can't just sit on your hands and win races anymore. They've already won 5 this season. They want to make it 10 or 11. Rodney Childers told me those are the types of seasons you look back on when you're 80 years old and relish. Marty?
Kelly, we've talked about the run for Ryan Blaney right now in the 7th position. It's funny how the cars flipped. Earlier in the race, they were good on the short runs. Now they're good on the long runs. But he said he's losing center turn already early in this run here, but having a nice run at not one of his favorite racetracks, Parker.
Oh, Marty, his teammate Brad Keselowski has surprised me this race in their lack of using strategy to steal track position. We always see this team pulling different strategies, long pitting, that sort of thing, and getting track position. They just have not done that this race, and he's been complaining about the front end in that car not working for him, Kelly.
Well, Clint Boyer snapped a long winless streak this year. In fact, he has 2 wins on the season, but he's greedy. It says it just makes them want more and more. In fact, he told me they was really hoping this race would serve as sort of a momentum builder for this 14 team. He also told me he felt they had about a top 10 car. That's where they've been running most of this race, 9th right now.
Well, Kelly, it is months before the Cup Series will visit Phoenix, but Joey Logano and his race team are trying to learn things today that will help them there. Obviously, that's a very critical race if you want to make it to the Championship 4 in Miami, so some experimentation going on underneath that 22 to learn something for Phoenix, Parker.
Right, and behind him in 11th, what a run for Ricky Stenhouse Jr. We saw him lead 11 laps earlier on strategy. As they run right now, he's +2 on the playoff leaderboard to actually be in the playoffs. What an impressive run out of this team, which told me earlier this year they need to have a 12th place average finish if they want to make the playoffs.
So I just want to be clear, Rick, did you get a child's game of Hungry Hungry Hippo in? Because that was an excellent report.
Absolutely. Hungry Hippo. I think that's exactly what he's doing right now.
Hey, listen.
One other thing I want to make a mention of. Remember how I told you guys I started with 9 guys and 2 wrecked out right away?
Yeah.
Well, one of my guys is running second right now, so I'm pulling for Eric Almirola.
That's good. I actually walked up to Eric's bus earlier this weekend, and he was laying on the ground in a carpet that they had homemade with the track drawn on it, and him and Alex were racing each other's cars. It was the greatest thing. It just proved the racing was in the entire family bloodline of this driver of the 10 car. Let's take a listen to Eric.
Still same, driving away from second. I am second. Or whoever's second to you. I'm just anticipating when you take the lead is all.
That's funny. I mean, you know, hey.
That goes, remember the old Harry Hyde story? You know, Harry, do you want us to pit?
Yeah.
Do whatever the leader does. They said, well, Harry, we are the leader. Oh, I don't know then. That's excellent. That's
That changes the game. So these guys right here, really good battle between Truex Jr. and Harvick. You talk about that sticky stuff wearing off on that upper groove, but still that's the preferred line as far as they run by themselves. Obviously Harvick right here taking the spot. Truex didn't fight him. Harvick got position and Truex let him go.
The tough part about running that bottom late in the run, I mean, obviously these guys are getting that, you know, getting that low on exit. But running that low entering, I mean, the cars get tighter and tighter and tighter usually on the run. So as you're fighting for front grip, driving in low is just going to make that worse. So you got to arc that entry and arc that entry more and more and more to try to help that center turn, be able to get that low run on exit. So going to see that that bottom groove be good for a handful of laps on restarts. After a while, though, they start cycling to the top on entry.
You can see these two drivers, their driving style is really similar. Look at their hand placement on the wheel, not much difference. One thing you can see a difference of, how the steering wheel for Truex a little closer to him than Harvick. That's just a driver preference. Very similar to their driving styles.
I like to look at the in-car and how people mount their digital dashes and how teams do things a little bit differently, because drivers are real particular about their cockpit and where things are, where switches are. Get a great look at what kind of, they use different mirrors, side mirrors and things like that. You can see they're using different window nets.
And some of those decisions have become less of the driver as teams have gotten bigger and these dashes have become carbon fiber.
The seats aren't the same, so you kind of get to see what everybody's preference is and how teams are doing different things.
You know, guys, you're focusing on 2 drivers, part of the big 3 dominating this year. But let's look at the guys up front. Kurt Busch, think about this. A 54-race winless streak. This is a guy that has won a ton of races in his career. He's a champion. Today would be a great day to end that winless streak. But it's not just the guy in first. You go back to second, and the 10 of Eric Almirola, 138 races. Since Eric Almirola has visited Victory Lane, he's having a career year for Stewart-Haas Racing. But to really top it off, I mean, I think a win would have to be in order to really call it a career year. And then it's been so well documented behind Eric Almirola, the 9 of Chase Elliott. 96 starts, no wins, a bunch of second-place finishes. He got that stage win. Can he convert that to a race win?
Well, Kurt Busch, you mentioned it. Looking for that first win of the year. This guy's a champion. His teammates have been winning races. He hasn't been a win one yet. You know that's driving him nuts. Today, he has a great shot.
You're watching Monster Energy Cup Series racing from New Hampshire Speedway. Yeah. Kurt Busch out there kicking some butt. Hey, I just got a text from Rick Hendrick. He said you were wrong about
I did. I got the same
said,
text.
yeah.
That's right. I said it was Harry Hyde that said, hey, man.
You're the leader?
You're the leader. Nope. According to Rick Hendrick, it was Robert G. Jeff Bodine was a driver, and he was there.
Robert G's my granddad.
That's right. He told me to get my facts straight. So
that's right.
Well, you should have known that without having to get a text from Rick.
Now it's all right.
Marty, what you got, buddy?
Hey, we saw Martin Truex Jr. a moment ago kind of give that spot to Kevin Harvick. I think I might know why. And Jeff and Jr., I think it's going to make you cringe as drivers. Truex saying that he has wheel hop on entry and in the center, both into 1 and 3. So that's kind of a handful for drivers at a place like New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's so tough. Wheel hop, go to the brakes, get this car slowed down, and the rear tires start bouncing up and down on the racetrack. And you see it a lot at road courses, but typically on a road course, you're going straight when it's happening. Here, you're actually turning the car a little bit, and it is way difficult to deal with.
The only saving grace for him is that he's got that track bar adjuster, and he's also got some brake adjusters. A lot of these guys will have left and right brake adjusters, forward and reverse, or forward and back on the brakes, and even left to right in some cars at some tracks to help the car under the brakes pull to the left and turn into the corner better. They probably don't have that here. It's probably more front to rear, and you can shut the left rear off a little bit, try to slow that hop down, get down in the corner, have a left rear brake lever only and a right rear brake lever only, and they can actually shut down that a little bit one at a time. Some of those drivers have a lot of different brake levers, and some only want just one going forward and back.
Man, that's a lot of levers. Wait a second, just to be clear, Landon Castle wrecked in practice, said he was adjusting the brakes, and you said, well, don't tell him that. Now you're telling me there's multiple levers these guys are twisting, and I'm supposed to believe you?
Yeah, well, you know, there's some drivers that want all that adjustability,
and there's some that don't need it.
Some that don't need it.
So we can say that now.
I probably was one that didn't need it.
I can guarantee you I was the one that didn't need it.
Give me front to rear. I was all I needed.
Well, good battle shaping up right here. Kevin Harvick's run Chase Elliott down. Kevin on this long run has suited his car. We saw the restart. It didn't go very well for Kevin. Lost some spots, and now he's followed himself back to the front. Does not quite have the pace of Kurt Busch, but he's got good pace.
What he showed in practice was very, very good long run speed. Here we are in the middle of a long run, and he's starting to look stronger than the competitors around him.
You got to start thinking so many races here, Steve. We see late race restarts. It happens at this racetrack. So long run speed's great if you get a long run, but right now Rodney Childers has got to be thinking, what are we going to have to do to make this car take off better on restarts?
I understand what you're saying there, that is a point, but let's think about the 9 right in front of him. He won that last stage. He got beat off pit road by the 41 by inches, if that, maybe less than inches. Didn't get to control the restart, and really that's why he's back here in third. If he controlled the restart, you have to ask yourself, could he have driven off the front of the field?
And that's part of it, and also the track's changing, and the cars are changing. Guys are adjusting. The Fords made their car better. A lot of guys saying the track's changing a ton. Kelly.
Well, to answer your question a little bit, Kevin Harvick said that he was just a little bit too loose to start that run. Rodney Childers said maybe he went a little too far in the air pressure adjustments, and then Kevin saying the car's coming around now.
This is a classic New Hampshire pass. Rolled the exit a little lower, took position. It's going to be interesting to see if Chase Elliott tries to fight him off or just concedes the position and get back in line. I don't know if he has much of a choice, guys. Parker.
Guys, how competitive is the Cup Series? Think about this. Last year's winner, Denny Hamlin, right now running 17th, and you recently had this to say on the radio. Take a listen.
Your maximum effort here. This is all it has. By far the worst we've been. Front won't turn at all. Back with shattering from the first top line. No grip.
And guys, what's interesting about that, how the front won't turn? Yesterday in practice, Mike Wheeler, his crew chief, told me all they did was work on center turn, and they got it to the point where they felt like they were one of the best cars turning through the center. But when they looked at the SMT data, which Junior, you can talk a little bit about, and actually saw that they were getting beat by most cars off the corner. So last night they made a lot of adjustments to take some of that center turn out and make it better off the corner, and it just hasn't worked, obviously.
Yeah, they look at the driver data and the sim and all the information from their teammates, and stuff starts to pop up that can try to, maybe convince you to go another route. And we saw his speed in practice, and notably, it wasn't that great. I mean, we came in this weekend thinking that he was going to be a guy to contend, and this is a great track for him, but he was kind of down on the sheet, and a little slow on the average, and showing up here in the race. Still 97 laps to go, a couple opportunities to get on pit road and fix it, but track positions are going to be hard for him to overcome.
Well, driver Joe Gibbs Racing normally is a great thing here at New Hampshire. They're so fast. Well, right now his cars, Kyle Busch is the leader of the pack in 5th, but if you go back and look at Denny Hamlin, he's 17th. Eric Jones, 20th. Suarez, 22nd. This is not something you normally see from Joe Gibbs Racing here at this racetrack.
Well, Dale, you just mentioned it. 94 to go. At least one pit stop required. But look at this. Action all over this flat 1 mile racetrack. All right, guys, we had a lead change there under the yellow, the 10, or excuse me, under the commercial break, the 10 of Eric Almirola ran the 41 down, guys, and went by him.
He came fast. He was like 2/10 a lap faster for the last couple of corners, couple of laps, and drove right up to the 41, worked the lap traffic right here in this replay. You'll see him using the bottom line, and the lap traffic's in the high line. Kurt tried to fight back, going down into turn 1 here. Eric's going to be able to easy clear to 41 and get by these lap cars, work his way through these lap cars here on that bottom right corner screen, and leading his first laps at New Hampshire.
There's going to be a rash of hungry hippo games if this continues.
Parker.
Guys, we have a disaster for the 2-car Brad Keselowski right now. He was running 9th just a couple laps ago. It was actually lap 201. He came on the radio and said, I'm starting to lose my brakes. Then he said, I'm backing up the corner. And a couple laps later, he said, brakes are almost gone. And now most recently said, they are going to fail. And he has fallen all the way back to 20th place in just a matter of a couple laps.
You can see him right there lifting real early.
And look how black the front tires are. That's all the brake dust inside of that wheel.
Yeah, my concern.
No brakes.
Parker.
Guys, you just heard it there. He just said the brakes are gone. Now you see he's probably trying to find a way that maybe they come down pit road here.
Jeff, you talked about it. The wheels, I believe, are supposed to be orange looking at the rear, but the front, they look like they're black wheels.
Yeah, that's all brake dust building up on them wheels, and he's lifting really early, trying to get down to the corner and stay off the pedal. You don't want to explode the brake rotor. I mean, that's a real threat right here for him to have a failure. We saw that on the 88 car last week in Kentucky going into turn 3. So he's trying to get to the end of this stage, or trying to get to the end of the race here, the next pit stop or a caution maybe to come out, give them a chance to get in and cool these things down and see if they can get the brakes to work again. But if he uses the brakes at all in this situation right here, he could have a real catastrophic failure. He's lifting at the flag stand. I'm watching him lift right here at the flag stand in front of us.
He literally had. You hear drivers every now and then say no brakes. It's an exaggeration.
He has none.
This one is really no brakes. You see how early he's lifting. Going a lap down here.
It's a real. It's kind of scary situation as a driver when there's your master brake pedal goes right to the floor. You pump it, nothing happens. You can't build that brake pedal up to get any brakes. Even if you did, applying more brake is just going to continue to fail the system, and you could have a failure.
You can see how early he's lifting. And the other problem is, if something happens in front of you, you can't slow down. So you just want to stay away from everybody. Terrible feeling.
So his only hope now is a yellow, right? Come to pit road, try to diagnose if there's an issue they can look at how much he's
oh my goodness. And as bad as those are, it's hard to believe that just cooling them down is going to be a fix. You don't see the rotors glowing, so I don't know. It may be a heat-related issue, but heat may have damaged something.
Yeah, and if I'm Joey Meyer on the roof, I'm waving.
Yes.
Right, I'm trying to get all the other spotters' attention, saying, hey, guys, do not hit us. Like, we have no brakes.
I just hope that Brad's off the pedal, not using the brake pedal, so that he doesn't continue to put heat into a system that's already in bad shape, so that he doesn't have the rotor come apart or anything like that.
And the people around him, they got to be aware. You mentioned it, his spotters got to be telling everybody that then the spotters are telling the other drivers, you know, how, listen, he's going to have to stop. He's going to be really slow. If you don't know that, you can run over top of him. He's lifting so early. Rick.
Well, I think if you would look at the scoring pylon, you'd say, okay, Stewart-Haas Racing is doing very well. But I don't know if you would expect to see Eric Almirola at the top of that list. But Eric Almirola is up there, and surprisingly, very quiet on the radio. He has not said a thing. The spotter is the only one that we have heard ever since he took the lead. Marty?
Hey, Steve, I gave the drivers a little consternation earlier talking about Will Hop. I didn't want you to feel left out, so let's talk about the final stop of the race, okay? Just talked to Billy Scott, the crew chief for Kurt Busch, a moment ago. He said cars may come as early as lap 230, but you could go as far as lap 245. And to throw another curveball into the mix, rain is building just off the racetrack. So how much of that decision is based on the rain, and when do you come for that final stop, crew chief?
Well, obviously coming early is an advantage, but difficult because you're going to lose at least a lap. So I like somewhere in the middle. I do agree that you can't run it all the way out. New tires aren't as big here as they are at some track, but it's still going to be an advantage on the racetrack. So if you're the 10 of Eric Almirola, you're really listening to your teammate of the 41, making sure they don't beat you to pit road. If they do, no more than a lap, Jeff. If you see the 41 pit, you have to come. So I expect to see the leaders hit pit road in 10 or 12 laps. The rain, can I just pretend the rain's gone? I mean, if I'm a crew chief, I don't think you can gamble on the rain. I don't see it building up enough.
Got one car on pit road.
Yeah, Suarez.
19 car. Daniel Suarez is on pit road. He's not a front runner. He's a lap down.
He just went a lap down.
That could drive more cars to pit road and get this cycle going. Parker.
Guys, you see that wrench up there? They're going to make an adjustment a little tight in that 19 car. Ford Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel.
That brings Matt Kenseth to pit road. We could see more cars trying to get on the pit road, get this cycle. Parker.
Guys, Matt Kenseth on pit road, still tight inside that 6 car. They actually had to stop a couple of stops ago where they had to pull some fenders out, had a bit of contact deep in the field. It's going to be Ford Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel for Matt Kenseth.
And what strategy you're seeing here, guys, are guys that were just lapped, so they're a lap down. So what they're trying to do is come to pit road early
Joey Logano
to try to leap the leader. So we'll see. Now Logano's the first lead lap
Eric
car.
Jones.
Hell yeah.
This is going to pick up. Hey, Marty, what you got?
Joey Logano, we've seen Todd Gordon and his team do this before. They've come early in the window. They're running 12th when they come down pit road. He said he's too loose on entry, too tight in the center, and too loose on exit, Kelly.
Eric Jones in that 20 car has too many issues to list, including being tight across the center. He is just not happy with this race car at all. Ford Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel, and you see a chassis adjustment there for the 20.
Take a replay of the 20 here, getting on pit road. That's how hard it is. Trying to that flat entry, locking up the tires. Marty.
Martin Truex Jr. on pit road. He said that wheel hop got way worse the longer they ran. He said it's so bad it almost feels like the left rear shock is broken. Several changes, including air pressure and wedge, trying to cure that problem.
We got a
Kelly.
car in the fence. Down to 3 and 4.
It's actually
no caution
no
yet.
caution, yeah.
Stenhouse
Jr.
I made heavy contact. Look at that damage.
Parker.
And guys, disaster for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., who's running inside the top 15, was having a great points day against the 88 of Alex Bowman. And all I can tell from this angle and what we just saw as he went off 3 and 4 is maybe that right front tire went down. You see them assessing the damage right here.
Luckily for those guys who hadn't pit yet, the cycle, or the guys who had pitted, the cycle, or the caution didn't come out. Marty, what you got?
Big swing in it here for Ryan Blaney. You see him turning into his pit stall. He said it's loose, it's crazy. He's I'm doing everything I can to not spin out. A big air pressure adjustment. You're going to see that wedge adjustment as well. Just too free at the end of the run. For Kurt Busch, it's been a fantastic day for the 41 team. He said we need a little bit more to be able to get up there and get the lead. Too loose the longer they run. And the 12 trying to leave as a 41 comes in. He backs up, the 12 does, and they did not. Now the 12 is leaving. That's going to cause both of these cars a little bit of a slowdown here on pit road. The 41, though, making changes, trying to tighten up that race car for Kurt Busch.
Perfect stop here for Eric Almirola. Right side tires, they'll come over to the left side. Second can of Sunoco fuel going in. They need a perfect stop to stay out front. No changes to the car, and he's away clean.
All right, guys, here it is. The 4 was the first car to come to pit road of the leaders. Those new tires were an advantage. The 10 right here was the leader off from pit road. Will he maintain the lead, or will the 4 clear him? This is basically the battle for the lead. That was a big call by the 4, Kevin Harvick. Jeff, you were wearing my arm out, hit me saying he came early. He was 3.5 seconds back. So you talk about big calls by the crew chief. Rodney Childers brings the 4 to pit road. The first car of the leaders to come, the 10 of Eric Almirola, stayed on the track for extra laps, costing him all this time and basically costing the 10 the lead.
And big trouble with the 41 on pit road. I mean, he went from being in the front, he's all the way down in 7th. 5 spots.
Now Eric just has to settle in. 72 to go. He just proved he has a great long run car, right, Jeff? He ran the 41 down and went by him, but so frustrating to lose that track position. You mentioned that 41 had trouble on pit road. Well, here's the 12 trying to leave. Well, he stops. Is the 12 going to leave? He's not. And then the 41 pulls in, Marty. It was a mess on pit road.
Just a miscommunication. Billy Scott said, I told Kurt to stop because I didn't think the 12 was paying attention. But the 12 team says, we knew the 41 was coming. We were going to wait a beat before we went. So a miscommunication. Billy Scott said, hey, I'm the one who told him to stop on pit road. Kelly?
Hey guys, trouble for Clint Boyer on the 14. He's just been issued a black fat flag for pitting outside of the box. He just served that penalty, and that's really adding salt to a wound because he felt like something was happening with his shock. He thought it was broke. He said his car was bouncing all over the place, just too much. And then he thought the brake caliper was coming apart. So this race that was starting off as a solid top 10 for Boyer quickly falling apart.
Got a great battle for the lead right here as Denny Hamlin's trying to stay on the lead lap, and he's making it tough for Harvick, and that's allowing Eric Almirola to get into this battle with Harvick for the lead.
Oh, and another slow car in front of him. Is the 10 going to leave the 4 room? He does, side by side down the backstretch.
3 wide with Blake Jones at 23.
Oh, that 10 car is good, guys.
He makes it work on the bottom, makes it look so good as it turns and rotates and gets on the throttle for the exit.
A little bit fresher tire. Remember, he pitted a little bit later than Harvick did in the 4 car. Now Harvick's got to hope that that long run speed that he had earlier in the race will help him. But we saw the same from the 10 car. The 10 car had great long run speed to take the lead earlier.
You know, it's interesting. We talk about all the pit crew changes at Stewart Haas Racing. Look at this. The rear tire changer of the 4 falls down. Great recovery. Internal changes on the pit crews. And here they are battling each other for the win on pit road. The 4 of Kevin Harvick came to pit road just 2 laps earlier, leapfrogged the 10, but Eric Almirola fought back past him. Now with 67 to go, try to save those rear tires, stay in front of the 4.
Well, you've seen great racing, and you're not going to miss a thing. We'll go NASCAR nonstop.
Welcome back to the Monster Energy Cup Series from New Hampshire Speedway. You love the Monster Cup Energy Series. If you love the Monster Energy Cup Series, it returns to Pocono next weekend. So if you love it, get some tickets. Playoff push is heating up, so don't miss a chance to experience a race at the Tricky Triangle. You can visit NASCAR.com/tickets to purchase your tickets today. That was not my best read.
I mean, it was, I'll give you a B-.
Well, we're going to keep doing it until we get it right.
Okay.
So we saw that pit stop earlier that cost Kurt Busch so many spots. Let's go back and watch it again and explain why it's so complicated. So right now, Kurt's being told stop, 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 because they think the 12's getting ready to leave. So if Billy Scott doesn't say stop, or the 12 car launches and they make contact, so both crew chiefs are trying to do the right thing here, and they didn't communicate very well, but it happened split second. That's just one of those things. I can't say anybody did anything wrong. They were just all being careful not to run into each other. Very tough spot. But Steve, to your point, what really makes it bad is that 41 sat on a pole. He picked the very first pit stall. Normally nothing happens like that down there.
Marty, that's the most frustrating thing. He has the best pit stall on pit road, yet still has trouble under green.
Yeah, and it's really a tough spot, as you guys mentioned. Kurt obviously a little frustrated with what happened. They literally were feeling like they were one adjustment away from being able to win this race. Here's what he had to say on the radio when they updated him on what spot he was in on the track.
Tempo will be P5 for the 18 and 9 in front.
Well, we P4 and P5 because it makes a big difference. It also makes a difference in what lap he put on.
Yeah, Tempo, I got you with P5.
And Kurt talking there about what lap they could have pit on, and that's certainly part of the strategy as well, right, Steve? Obviously, Harvick came early and gained a ton of track position.
Well, he did. I think he's frustrated that he pitted with the car next to him on pit road in his pit stall. It's a tough call by Billy Scott because he thinks the 12 is going to, I mean, look how close the timing was. We're talking 1, 2, 3 seconds. If the 12 is gone, he has a clean out, or excuse me, a clean in, and it's just, man,
Typically,
those
the crew
tough.
chiefs communicate on top of the boxes about when they're going to pit, so they don't actually have that happen or they don't hurt
And
each
they
other.
weren't on the same lap.
Because it hurt both cars.
Yeah.
If he would have waited and held him out another lap, the damage wouldn't have been as bad, but he certainly would have given him more track position. So Billy Scott's trying to prevent that from happening too.
Absolutely, yep.
Split-second decisions.
But now what Kurt has to do, and it's difficult, he has to settle down and try to get the best out of this race. I understand his frustration. He's has every right to be frustrated, but he's 5th. Chase Elliott is 4th. You never know. I mean, it's 56 to go. We haven't seen the yellows come out. Remember the trends here, guys. The last 35 laps of this place is normally caution-filled.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to get a yellow, and that's going to probably create more yellows. Definitely don't see this thing going green. .1 is the lead for Eric over Harvick. It's the battle for 4th and 5th between Elliott and Kurt Busch.
As we see the 41 battling right here, the 10 of Eric Almirola, leading laps, having a career season. Look at how many tracks he has improved his career finish on. Vegas, Phoenix, Pocono, so many career numbers this year. His best finish here is 5th. And guys, it's more than just a career year. Think of Eric Almirola last season driving for Richard Petty Motorsports, broke his back in a fiery accident, had to sit out weeks. Dale, you know what that's like to be out of the race car, to come back and then change teams to a team that's dominating. He has to want to validate that change by going to victory lane.
You bring up that time frame of his career where he was injured, and you know, as a driver, and I'm sure he felt that he might have been on the verge of losing his opportunity to be in the series, or losing his opportunity at a good ride. And look what he's turned this into. He's got a great relationship with his sponsor. He's a, great guy, great personality. Works well with his race team and has made this thing work. He's doing great.
Well, you mentioned his team, the team of the 10 car. They had speed at Chicago. They went out there, led 70 laps that day, proving that he deserves this ride. He goes out, he wins a stage. Everything is looking 2 thumbs up for this 10 car. And then all of a sudden, he has to come to pit road because of a loose wheel. That kind of doomed the 10's opportunity to win the race. They come in, they change tires. I think he ended up having a second loose wheel. Later in the day, you see another trip to pit road. So his team has performed. I know they lost the lead on pit road through pit strategy, but they got all the wheels on in enough time where Eric could come back out and take the lead over from the 4 car. So with 51 to go, things are looking good. But
see Brad Keselowski hit pit road. Parker, what do you got?
Guys, I think he's just coasting down here. They're completely out of brakes on that 2 cars. You see him just going in as slowly as he can, trying to slow it down by downshifting basically and using the engine to slow it into his pit stall, doing tires here, and they're going to take a look at that car.
See Denny Hamlin trying to stay back in the lead lap. Eric Almirola trying to lap him coming into this race. You just wouldn't expect Denny Hamlin to be a guy that's getting lapped.
He's been fighting pretty hard to stay there, but
and he's fought hard. They were racing the 10, the 11, and the 4 all right there together for a little bit, and the 11 was able to drive away from him, but now the 10's run him back down and got by him.
Nobody's had the long run pace that Eric and Kevin have had. So, but if where's the next car that's on the tail end of the lead lap? That's Matt Kenseth, who's having a freaking awesome day. We haven't talked about Matt.
Did last week too. Last week he ran 14th, 15th most of the day, and he's doing the same thing today.
Parker.
Well, guys, you're talking about that long run speed, but don't look now. Kyle Busch has cut almost 2 seconds out of the lead that Eric Almirola has on him. Remember, he actually gained a spot under those green flag stops and came out over 4 seconds behind the leaders, and Adam Stevens told him, just take care of your stuff here. We got a long run. We're over 4 seconds back, and he has methodically cut that lead down and seems to have a really good long run car right now.
Eric just has to continue to pick and choose It's that balance. Dale, as a driver, how do you set that balance? How aggressive are you with lap traffic? You don't want to give up time, but you don't want to make a huge mistake, run into one, perhaps ruin your chances of winning.
I'm bull in a China shop, man. I'm leading this race, and I'm Eric Almirola, and I'm trying to win a race I haven't won in a long, long time. I'm going to use these guys up. I'm going to try to put some distance between me and Kevin Harvick, because I know what kind of a driver and champion that Kevin Harvick is. You got Kyle Busch back there gaining ground as well. I can't waste any time. I got to use the racetrack and use it up, and use the competitors up too as you're lapping them. You can't wait on these guys to give you the position or give you the racetrack.
I love asking you these questions when I already know the answer, because that's exactly what I was going to say. You just mentioned Matt Kenseth. Think about that. Matt Kenseth at the 15th place.
He's doing amazing.
15th place, and here comes Eric to lap him.
They've struggled all year, and that's a solid. A top 15 for that 6 car is great progress. Everything. That is the reason why they brought Matt in. Get some consistency. Get Matt to give them some information. The great thing about it is Matt's running around cars he needs to be running around to be able to understand where they're lacking. You can't understand that running back in 30th. You run up here in the top 15, gives him the option to see how these guys are beating them, where they're beating them.
Oh my goodness. That's a game changer right there, folks. The 14 of Clint Boyer is slow. It looks like some damage on the right front.
Saw him high in turn 3 and 4. I think he might have got down in there and got up in the fence a little bit.
Oh man,
45 to go right now.
Now it's 2 things, guys. Now you have to come to pit road. Tires are too important. So first, pit crews have to perform. The second part, though, is we've seen some guys good on short runs, some good on long runs. There's only 45 laps to go in this race. So now what adjustments do you make? Jeff, as a driver, you better be telling me my car's too loose, too tight, whatever it is on new tires, I need to know.
You needed to know that as soon as that last restart happened so you can remember it, because the driver's not going to remember. He's focused on the now. As soon as you have a problem on a restart, you need to start communicating that. But right now, my mind shifts. I'm thinking about the crew chief changes that happened at Stewart-Haas Racing this week. Sorry, pit crew changes. Eric Almirola leading the race, Stewart-Haas Racing. Harvick, Stewart-Haas Racing. Changes on these pit crews into the pressure right now. Can they execute?
Let's take a look. The reason for the caution, we have Clint Boyer right here. Oh my goodness, that's a bad angle. Straight up the racetrack.
Looks like he got in the corner so hard, and the brakes didn't slow him down.
Well, remember, he was saying he thought he had a shock problem. He thought he had a problem early in the race.
Bouncing there.
Yeah.
Look at left rear tire bouncing like that.
There's a problem.
There is a problem.
All right, it's go time for the pit crews. Parker.
And guys, you see that car in third. Kyle Busch in 18 is going to be one of the first into his box here. The team called for a double bogey, whatever that means, so we'll see here in real time. He's also struggling with a bit of right rear chatter inside the 18 car. Asks for water and ice. Rick?
Right in front of him, Eric Almirola, 4-tire stop. A little bit of a skip by the tire carrier, and that's going to lose them the spot. The 18 is going to beat the 10 off of pit road.
With those changes, Kevin Harvick's got a new front tire changer. He said his car was just getting a little bit tighter that run than the one before. It was 4-tire change for the 4 car.
Jeff, you said it. Pit crews, the changes, they had to show up. Joe Gibbs Racing plus 2 spots for Kyle Busch. He wins the race off pit road. Eric Almirola, heartbreak on pit road, a slower pit stop. We're going to take a look at it here. He goes from the leader to third. Oh, man, it's just a few little bobbles. The right side seems clean, but the left side, they have trouble. Doesn't take much to lose spots on pit road anymore. 40 go. Jeff, we just discussed this story. You brought it up. Changes at Stewart-Haas Racing because of this. This is the average 4-tire pit stops under yellow. Joe Gibbs Racing almost a half a second faster than Stewart-Haas, so they make changes on pit road. Unfortunately, they've been good all day, but here when it mattered, they lost the lead.
When the pressure gets turned up, it becomes more difficult. But we talk about Stewart-Haas and Gibbs. Well, Gibbs doesn't just build fast race cars and have great race car drivers, great crew chiefs. They have great pit stops as well. It takes everything, and these guys know it. They know they put their man in a position to go win this race. 41 to go.
Parker. And guys, I just spoke to that pit crew, specifically Joe Crossan, who's the tire carrier, and he said that was a smooth stop. The the funniest part, they didn't get it recorded, so they can't watch it back in their video, Kelly.
The new front tire changer, the 4 team maintained second position for Kevin Harvick, but they reminded him he was a little bit too loose on that last restart. They told him to use the brakes to help him out this time around, Rick.
Yeah, Eric said right before he came in, he said, guys, just give me a good pit stop. The tire carrier had a stumble. Crossfire came down and talked to him. The other thing he said on the radio was, guys, I might not have the best restart, but I've been very strong after the restart. And he's got quite a few laps to get up front, Marty.
There is one hometown race Martin Truex Jr. has not won, and this is it. He desperately wants it, and they gained him 2 spots here on pit road. He's got a little wheel hop, but you know what? He's got the outside lane that he's wanted all day long. Finally, he's got a shot.
I'm surprised that
Marty, you said the 78 wanted the outside. Well, obviously Kyle Busch does too. He picked the outside, gave Kevin Harvick the inside. That's been the way to go the majority of the day. The key for Busch right now is the launch. That's been the advantage on the restart on the outside, is actually beating the inside to turn 1.
over the last couple of runs, though, we've seen that inside line be the line. Oh, look at Almirola, not a great start. Spins the tires or something there. Bottles up the whole inside line. Harvick on the inside. He's still there on the inside of Kyle.
And that Newman in 5th.
But Kyle Busch, with the momentum from the top, takes the lead back from Kevin Harvick.
Kurt Busch fighting. He was fighting for the lead. Now he's all the way back and around 10th.
And he's mad.
Yes.
He's not happy about that.
And look at this, the 42 of Kyle Larson. He's back. We haven't seen him since he had to come down pit road an extra time earlier in the race.
You talking about mad? Almirola's the same way. Almirola had the lead. He's in 7th.
Here it is, though, guys. 2 heavyweights, Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, 38 to go.
Kyle had a better car on the long run. The 4 car didn't have the early run speed. Made some adjustments, got some adjustment on pit road. He's made some adjustments inside the car, probably with the brakes or the track bar to try to get some speed here. He drives to the bottom here. Thinks there's a lot of grip down there. He's going to try to get that drive off underneath. Two of the best in the business going at it. This is the same thing we saw at Texas earlier this year between these two. What a great race they put on there.
And this reminds me of Chicago as well. Chicago, Kyle Busch didn't run good all day. Got the lead late and went on to make it happen. Well, right now he's got the lead. Can Kevin Harvick, who's had a better car, go take it from him?
And with Truex's domination last week in Kentucky, currently running 3rd, I think he took a little momentum of the big 3. He said, I'm the championship favorite. Kyle Busch, Kevin Harvick, they get the battle right now to see which one of them perhaps leaves here as the favorite.
Harvick comes off the bottom in 3 and 4, goes into the top groove, running the same line as Kyle Busch. Kyle's been driving off the corner, beating Harvick off the corner pretty bad, while Harvick's been running to the bottom. So he goes to the middle and the top here, trying to see how that can help him gain some ground on the 18. Kyle's car looks pretty strong right here. We'll see Harvick's going to run that outside line again.
And that long run speed that we've seen from the 4 of Kevin Harvick. We don't have a long run. 35 to go.
He lost it a little bit there, trying to.
Will it be enough time? Will Harvick's car come in soon enough for him to run down Kyle Busch? We didn't see that earlier. It took laps. You see the different lane right there, how Harvick entered lower, Kyle entered higher. Kyle had all 4 tires in that black groove. Harvick only had 2. This corner as well. The 18 just with Kyle, just a higher entry. That doesn't mean what Harvick's doing wrong. It's just both guys got to do what's best for their car.
Yeah, their cars are not driving identical, and they're going to run where they need to get the balance they want, get the drive off they need, the turn they need in the corner. They use that PJ1 on the track to get that grip and put the tires in that PJ where they want and get their cars to react the way they want them to react. And that's what's great about this track.
There towards the 10 was doing in 18 was doing the last run where they carry the top around a little further, and then they don't get on that bottom as much.
Guys, we were just listening there to Rodney Childers on the 4 telling Kevin Harvick what was going on, but I wanted to focus on this top 3. Once again, we see the big 3, the 18 of Kyle Busch, the 4 of Kevin Harvick, and the 78 Martin Truex Jr. And I asked Kyle Busch's crew chief, Adam Stevens, about racing those other or two, and he said, you know, when we get the car right in balance, it comes down to two things: restarts and pit stops. And how did that team get the lead? Through a pit stop, and then that driver executed this restart perfectly.
That time by Kevin Harvick, a 10th faster. This ain't over, 6/10 back. If he can put together some more laps and close that gap, be able to put a little pressure on Kyle, we'll have a heck of a race. 30 laps to go this time by.
Well, you just said it. 30 laps to go at New Hampshire. A battle between the big three. Look at this save by the 7-8 earlier in the day. This is what it takes to be around at the finish. Up, out of the groove, where we're heading nonstop. You won't miss a thing. The action from New Hampshire.
Welcome back to Monster Energy Cup Series racing from New Hampshire. The Foxwoods Resorts Casino 300.
25 to go, guys. Let's take a look at today's Ram. Truck's proven to last. You got to manage a changing track, right? We said it was going to change all day. It has changed. Who's made the best adjustments? And then Dale Jr., I don't think we're done with the yellows.
I don't know. This has been a heck of a battle. You've seen the whole thing between Eric Almirola and Chase Elliott. Chase finally conceded the position. That was a pretty good little tussle there between them two guys.
And we showed you this battle because up front it's kind of at status quo. Kyle Busch has about a 3/4 of a second lead over Kevin Harvick, and they really, well, that last lap they ran, how about that, guys? The exact same lap time.
Yeah, while we were away, the 3-car of Austin Dillon had to hit pit road, had a loose right front, so he pitted from 13th. Kelly.
And just behind the 9 there of Chase Elliott, you'll find the 31 of Ryan Newman. How about this run? He's a 3-time winner here, but his last win here in New Hampshire was way back in 2011. Luke Lambert said they just had so much misfortune in the first half of this season, but he said, look, we are working our guts out. We're doing everything we can and using all of our resources, human and otherwise, to get better. It looks like that could pay off here today. He's in position for his best finish of the season, running 6th right now.
And he needs a good finish because he's sitting right now in 19th position in points. Let's take a look at those points.
See what that accident did for Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Yeah, 75 points out for the 31. He needs a couple of races where they take these type of risks to get these 10, 20 spots and get big chunks of points early, quickly.
Well, Martin Truex Jr. in 3rd place. You know he wants to be up there battling for the lead, but is trying to catch the leaders, dealing with a little bit of lap traffic. Drives underneath the 23, Blake Jones.
Watch his hands here.
And he's like, hey, man.
Oh,
That's not the #1 symbol, I don't think.
what are you doing?
And I think at this point, guys, Truex would take a 3rd place finish, even though they've led 82 laps today and had the dominant car at times. He's had wheel hop issues all afternoon long, chatter in the right front, so he's had a rough afternoon in the second half of this race. So if the car is wheel hopping and you finish 3rd, I think, Burton, you'd take that, wouldn't you?
Oh, I'd take it. I'd be happy to have a 3rd. Obviously, this team expects to win, but on a day where things haven't gone your way, if you can still come out of here with a 3rd, that feels good. But look who's in front of you. That's the problem. You look up, we're having a decent day, but you got Harvick and Kyle Busch still in front of you.
That's right, and it's getting tight, too. Harvick's brought it within a half a second. It's been faster. That was almost over a 10th faster that last lap. You can see Harvick changing his line around, running a different line. His car seems to be coming in. He's going to be able to put some pressure on Kyle Busch here in a few laps. With 19 laps to go, we're coming to 18 to go.
And they're catching a bunch of lap traffic. There's about 3 cars right in front of them, another 4 in front of that group.
And Jeff, Kyle has not said anything on the radio. The only thing that's being told on the radio right now is where the 4 of Kevin Harvick is running line-wise. They're just telling him each and every corner what's going on with the 4 car because he's actually catching him, as you mentioned.
You just got to make lap time. You just have to run the best speed you can. You may have to start playing defense if the 4 of Kevin Harvick gets close enough to you. But right now, it's just about going as fast as you can. Some drivers want to hear lap times, others don't. But
that's a terrible situation in traffic for Kyle, having to go into the low corner. Entering low there really cost him a lot of speed on the straightaway, and you saw it. Look at the
speed Kevin Harvick has on corner entry to get to the 18. That's where the speed right now is. It's going to be hard to make the pass like that, though. You got to carry the speed on corner exit to make the pass. You get position on corner entry, but you make the pass on corner exit.
And guys, guess what? Sprinkling here on pit road. So that just adds to the intensity in this battle for the lead with 17 to go.
Corey LaJoie goes inside, giving Kyle the outside line. That's where Kyle probably wants to be. But he can't turn down too much and get too much of his tires in that PJ1 on the low side, and that hurts his exit just a little.
And Junior, the 18 of Kyle Busch, just came on the radio and said rain in turn 1.
Of course it is.
On his windshield, of course.
It's pouring out here. Kevin Harvick says it's not raining a drop, though, I bet.
Look at this in front of him. This is going to get tight in turn 1.
Kyle's going to have to go low here. Harvick does too, but he gets the inner high. Back that corner up. Look at the run he gets right here. Watch him close up.
Yeah, that's what he wanted.
Oh, that kills. The 18 being on the inside of that lap car. David Reagan. You're running on the outside of Kyle off that corner. Really makes it tough for Kyle to get in the throttle.
We saw earlier, Harvick likes to run his car just a little bit lower than Kyle, and I think that's an advantage to Harvick because already he's been running his car with the left front. No left traffic. Oh, it's tight.
Oh, look here. How's this going to work out? The other thing about that, too, is it keeps air, a little bit more air on Harvick's nose.
That's right.
He runs a little bit lower. He's out of the trail of that 18 car, keeping a little bit of air on the left headlight, keeping that left front planted. The brakes blowing.
Yeah, the left front brake.
They're driving these cars as hard. I mean, this is the end of the race. This is everything. They're giving everything they got.
Kyle Busch loose off turn 4.
Ross Chastain, who's had a great run, 25th place. He's going to give him the outside. Helps Kyle out there. Anytime Kyle gets that outside line on the lap, guys, that's really what he's going to want. It's where he's been running.
That's most of the lap traffic they've cleared. Bubba Wallace is the next, but he's pretty far away.
Harvick's going to have to do this all on his own.
Coming to 12 to go, guys. Look at Kyle Busch, 5 wins in 2018. Kevin Harvick, 5 wins in 2018. Don't forget Truex back there. In third, he has 4 wins. The best of the best from this season, battling it out.
Look how Harvick just eats him up in the middle. Kyle knows that. Kyle's not going to be able to fix that, but what Kyle has to continue to do is focus on that exit speed. Don't get caught up in Harvick beating you through the middle. Focus on what the strength of your car is, and that's corner exit. Watch right here as we ride along. Watch the gap that Harvick closes up on Busch on corner entry. Gains on him, gains even more in the middle. Busch stands in the gas. That's where he needs to be stronger, but Harvick matched his exit speed that time.
Good corner for Harvick. That's what he wants to do. He wants to gain, overdrive, and drive that car hard into the corner, gain to the center, and then match on throttle.
And Harvick sees the back of that 18 car moving around. He knows that's his weakness. He wants to get his front bumper to Kyle's rear bumper, take the air off that spoiler, maybe a little nudge.
He might have to put a little more pressure on him in the center of the corner, hope to get Kyle to jump that cushion.
Oh, that's close. 10 to go.
A little bit of contact, maybe. If he can get Kyle barely almost hits the fence there. If he can get Kyle to jump that outside seam.
He almost did it that lap. He was so close to being too far.
Kyle's pushing so hard. Not going to take a lot more pressure.
Oh, Kyle's loose. Harvick knows how loose he is. He can see it. He knows if he can get that front bumper to his rear bumper, it's going to really mess Kyle up.
You have to appreciate that you're watching 2 of the best in the series.
Oh, there it is. Contact.
And they're getting, they're being aggressive with each other.
He just letting you know he's there.
This is great.
Here's Spotter. He just letting you know he's there.
Yeah, Kyle looks a little free. Kyle's freeing up. He's got those adjustments in his car. I wonder if he's moving that track bar a little bit, maybe using those brake levers.
And they are starting to run Bubba Wallace down a little bit. That's going to hurt Kyle because it's taking air off his car. And you see where Bubba's running. He's running the top where Kyle wants to be.
Man, I can't believe how good he rolls.
Big run right here. Big run right here.
That's Kyle comes off the corner, looks in the mirror.
He's going to peek at him this time. He's going to enter a little bit lower.
You come off the corner and look in the mirror and see nothing but the hood of that Busch car. Look at that.
Oh, he wrinkled the corner panel. He hit him so hard.
Pushed him up.
Those are nudges. That's racing.
And finish exit down there. You know what you've been doing. Keep that rear detached.
That's aggressive, but it's good hard racing. Oh, he puts him out of the groove there.
Oh, man. I don't know about hard racing. He moved
You better gap him. Hope you don't get a caution.
Kelly.
Hey, guys, just before that, the team told Harvick, do what you got to do to win inside there.
Yeah, they gave him the okay, and he did it. Just barely nudging him. It wasn't going to take much, you know. Kyle is driving for all he's worth. Just a touch more pressure was going to send him out there.
Harvick saw how loose he was. When you see a guy in front of you and he's tight and you hit him like that, sometimes with these cars it doesn't hurt them that bad. But when they're loose and you make that contact, watch right here, Kevin Harvick, contact right in the middle of the corner.
Calculated like a surgeon.
He knew that if the right rear of the 18 gets out of that PJ1 in that top groove, that it was over for the 18. He knew that, put that pressure on him.
Man, Samantha Bush upset.
Hey, listen, those wives, they're riding with their husbands in there. Their life revolves around racing just like their husbands do.
Let's hear the 18 radio here.
Yeah, Bassin's right through him. I get it. Every corner for 4 laps. Okay.
Here's frustration.
Hey, he wasn't as frustrated as I was expecting.
Well, what that is it's permission slip, right? The permission slip just got written.
That's what I was thinking.
Hey, Harvick, if you're leading, that means I can move you out of the way. So watch as these playoffs start, and we get closer and closer. You know, the first strike was made right here.
That's right. We know these guys are going to be battling all the way to Homestead.
Oh, yeah.
But Harvick, again, you know, we saw this in Chicago with his tenacity to get that stage point from his teammate Kurt Busch, and we see it again today how important these stage points are, or these playoff points are.
And with that contact, the one thing Harvick does not want is a caution. Because you do not want Kyle Busch to get close to you.
You see he stretched the distance now between the 4 and the 18 is up well over a second.
Look at the brakes glowing. Harvick still driving that car hard. And let up any.
Two to go. Now basically it's just don't make a big mistake. He has more than a big enough lead over Kyle Busch. He's just trying to stay in the groove, not make a mistake with a lap car. The 95 of Casey Kane in front of him. A battle between two heavyweights. And I'm with you, Jeff. Shocked he decided to make any contact with 18. The left front brake rotor still glowing for the 4 of Kevin Harvick. He comes off turn 4. It'll be 1 lap to go, presented by Credit One Bank. Looking for his 43rd career win, 6th of the season. That'd be a career mark, guys. Never has he had 6 wins in a year. Think we're just past halfway. Last week, it was the 78 of Martin Truex Jr. sweeping the week, perhaps making himself the title favorite. This week, it's Kevin Harvick in the 4 car coming back and winning at New Hampshire.
Great job.
And
Hell of a job, man. Great job, guys. The way to fight all weekend.
we had the pleasure of watching 2 of the very best in the sport. Not just now, but 2 of the best really ever. Those guys have so much talent. Watching those 2 go after each other, man, that is so much fun.
I talked to Kevin Harvick a couple weeks ago about what was most important. He said playoff points. Well, Kyle Busch had 30 playoff points before the end of this race, the more than any other driver. Well, who has the most now? The man right there.
Harvick.
32 playoff points. Takes the lead in that category, which is going to be critical going to the championship. Can't wait to hear the interviews.
Hey, it's game on. These points and this point system, they require that. This is not the system from 15 years ago where it's just about earning points all year long. Pushing somebody to move them out of the way gives you reward. It really matters. You just said it, those playoff points, he's now the leader. It forces these drivers to be in a position they have never been in before.
And guys, look at the fans. Kevin Harvick's going to do a burnout. Window open to the fans. This moment is presented by Sunoco, fueling victories all season long. Ninth time, guys. This is the 9th time Harvick and Busch finish 1-2. The 4th time this year.
And you know who the winner is those fans. Those fans that came here today, they waited out the weather, they braved it, they saw a great race. So happy for them.
We saw aggressive racing at Chicago. Kyle Busch on the other side of that. Coming out the victor today, we see same thing, sort of more aggression. It's what you want when you come to a race. You want to see these guys do anything it takes to win.
Listen, this 42-year-old from Bakersfield, California, he's no nonsense. Always has been. What was he, that little kid in elementary and middle school, the wrestler? What did he? I kind of had that little kid, got to fight back, and that's how he continues to race. We see it time and time again. No nonsense. I don't think he cared it was Kyle Busch. I don't think he would have cared if that was his teammate. If there was a win available, he was going to do whatever it took to get the win, and he did it. Now he gets to get out and grab that checkered flag. There he is on the front stretch, Marty.
Indeed, what an incredible finish there. Kevin Harvick, Kyle Busch duking it out to the very end here. Didn't look like Harvick would be able to catch him, but he was able to do it. And Rodney Childers gave him the green light. He said, do what you have to do to win. So walk me through the mentality of the move on the 18.
Well, I just didn't know if I was going to get there again, and you know, felt like that was my best opportunity to do what I had to do to win. I didn't want to wreck him, but I didn't want to waste a bunch of time behind him. So just got to thank everybody on this number 4, Busch Beer, Jimmy John's Ford for everything that they do, Mobile One, Haas Automation, Hunt Brothers, everybody from Stewart Haas Racing. What a great weekend.
When you make a move like that, do you ever worry about future and it may be coming back to you, Kevin?
Well, I mean, you do, and you worry about that stuff later. It's not as I wrecked him. You know, it's the same thing as Chicago.
I think the winner, these fans, I mean, we're literally 8 feet from the fans here. How about that show you put on for them?
Yeah, just want to thank all the fans for sticking it out in the rain today, and what a great race today. Just thanks everybody from Foxwoods and everybody from New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Appreciate it. Awesome day.
Parker?
Marty, the guy finished second. He was describing there Kyle Busch. Kyle, you heard what he had to say. Was that move fair or foul by Kevin Harvick?
I couldn't hear it, but you know, it's racing. We had a really poor performance today. Our interstate batteries Camry just wasn't there. Wasn't there all weekend. We kept fighting the same things all weekend long, and we could never make any gains on it all through practice, and we kind of struggled with it through the race. And Adam made some really good calls, some really good adjustments to just try to keep improving on it. My pit crew was flawless. They gained us all those spots on pit road to get us out front, to get us in that position, to have a shot to go after the win. And you know, we controlled the restart and drove away by a little bit, but we weren't the best car in the long run. All them SHR cars were really good today. They were all fast, so it was going to be hard to hold them off. And I was just kind of backing up and you know, 3, 4, 5 corners in a row, and with a faster car, I'm not sure you had to do it, but he did. It's fine. How you race is how you get raced, so it's fine.
You heard it, guys. How you race is how you get raced.
Dale, you wanted to hear the interviews. There you have it. Sounds like he knew the 4 was better. Maybe a little disappointed on how the 4 went past. The frustration of Kyle Busch. Hard to believe he said he isn't good when he runs second in the race. And how about this? Doesn't matter if you're 6th win of the year. You still celebrate. You still love it. There's nothing like winning. Well, you see the results of the win for Kevin Harvick. Now 6 wins. He takes the lead with 32 playoff points ahead of Kyle Busch. Martin Truex right there behind him with 26. A great battle on the other side of those playoff standings. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. at one point had Alex Bowman in his sights. They were tied. He got in that accident. Now he's 28 points behind Alex Bowman for the cut line.
Another win for the Big Three. So I thought this would be a chance for one of the guys that hasn't won this year to get a win. Kurt Busch, Brad Keselowski. Not so today. Another great run by Eric Almirola, though. He makes a case for himself as we get closer to playoffs.
Yeah, Chase Elliott, you see there, he's 15th and finished well today in 5th place. Kelly, you with him?
Chase Elliott had never had a top 10 here at New Hampshire. Today you get a top 5, you lead laps, and you get your first stage win of the season. You've told me this place has been frustrating. What do you think of it now?
Yeah, I was shocked, to be honest with you, that we ran even that good. Our whole Napa group did a good job overnight. I really have no idea where that came from. I hope it wasn't dumb luck. I hope we can keep it rolling, because that was you know, really nice to be able to go up there and lead some laps. I know it wasn't the right part of the race, but still leading laps for us is big, like we've been doing. So proud of the effort. Appreciate everybody's effort back at Hendrick and you know, chassis shop, engine shop, Chevrolet, you know, all the folks that are working hard to try to get better. I hope that we took a step in the right direction.
As you look at the big picture in the playoffs, how valuable is this points haul today?
Yeah, it was a huge points day for us. Obviously, we'd love that win to not have to worry about it, but you know, got 19 points between the two stages. That's 19 positions on track, and that's a lot. So anything can happen these next few weeks, and you know, to have all you can get is really important.
Thank you, Chase.
Yep.
Well, okay. I got my rookie stripe torn off a little bit earlier, but I guess getting splattered with beer in Victory Lane is pretty cool.
Down here.
So this is a good win for Busch today. Actually, awesome. You know, the move you made, I was thinking back, you got your opportunity to get behind the wheel, taking over for the Intimidator. Was that a little bit of the Intimidator working there as you were able to get by Kyle Busch?
Well, we were just running out of laps, and I knew that I might not get to him again. And as hard as both of us were pushing, it was, you know, we were chattering the rear tires, front tires, and I got to him, and I knew that I needed to take my opportunity and felt like I needed to try to get him up out of the groove, and I got him up out of the groove and was able to get by. So just really proud of everybody. On our number 4, Busch Beer, Ford, got to thank Jimmy Johns and Mobile One, Outback, Hunt Brothers, Morton Buildings, Textron Off-Road, Liftmaster, everybody who helps from Stuart Haas and Stuart Haas Racing.
Now, is this something that, obviously, you're racing against Martin Truex Jr., racing against Kyle Busch. You three have been dominating the season so far. Is this kind of a flex in the muscles? It's been 7 races since you won, so you feel good to get back to victory lane?
Well, winning is important, and you got to try to take every opportunity you can. I felt like my car was better. He was in the lane that I needed to be, and just as you get to the end there, as you saw at Chicago, you got to be aggressive and do what you got to do sometimes to win these races. So it's one of those deals, and we want to win, and points are everything, and getting a W is what it's all about.
43 wins, you know, that's the King's number.
I like it.
Congratulations.
That, Rick. Good job.
Congratulations, Kevin Harvick, back in victory lane.
Yeah, that's a lot of wins. And I tell you what I like about that interview is none of that, oh man, a hater got into him, that we're accustomed to hearing. It was, look, I did what I had to do, and that's what racing's about today. The game's changed. These points have made it change. It's so much more aggressive. Kelly.
A third-place finish for Eric Almirola. And Eric, it's kind of hard to judge your first top 5 finish of the season, but you got up there, you led laps, ultimately come up a little bit short. What's the feeling at the end of this one?
Disappointment. You'd think I'd be really excited to run top 5, and I'm not. We had the best car, hands down. There's no doubt in my mind, and we gave it away on pit road, and then I gave it away again on the restart and spun the tires on the restart and didn't even give myself a fighting chance. So just really frustrated. Chicago, we had a car capable of winning. We didn't execute. Today again, another car capable of winning. And we didn't get our Smithfield Ford Fusion to victory lane, and just frustrating. So they say you got to lose some before you win some, and I feel like we've lost some now. So it's time to stop it and go to victory lane. So really proud of everybody at Stuart Haas Racing. They're giving me incredible race cars, and we've showed up with cars capable of running the top 5 and challenging to win races these last month and a half, 6 weeks, 7 weeks. So really proud of everybody back at the shop. Really proud of Johnny Klossmeyer and all the guys on this 10 team. We're going to get Smithfield and Ford Motor Company and Mobile One and everybody that helps us out to victory lane really soon.
Eric, how much have you had to change your mentality that when you come away with the top 5, it's still a disappointment?
Well, it is different from my past, but I'm competitive. You know, we played Candyland in the bus earlier during the rain delay, and I didn't even, you know, I don't like to lose to my kids playing Candyland. So I'm just competitive by nature, and I want to win. And especially for everybody that believes in me and supports me, Tony Stewart, Gene Haas, everybody at Haas Automations and Stuart Haas Racing and Ford Motor Company and Smithfield, everybody's just put so much into believing in me and giving me this opportunity to come here. And I feel like I owe it to them to win, to prove them right, that they made the right choice. And I'm frustrated that I didn't get to victory lane today.
A great day of racing here at New Hampshire. Kevin Harvick back to victory lane. When we come back after the break, some final thoughts from me, Dale Jr., and Jeff Burton.